All right, we're back. Oh man.
Yeah, kind of, sort of, unfortunately. I mean, not that we're back,
Yeah.
but that, like, we could have been back better,
Yeah.
much better.
We could have built back better, not in the Citracha way.
Yeah.
What do you think? So the rabbi basically gave a shir today, and he basically said that this is a Lubavitch, rabbi, and he said he's like we can because he was talking about the meal of Mashiach. We're gonna have the meal of Mashiach today,
Yep.
and but he's like you can get he's like B'ezrat Hashem Mashiach should come. We should have the meal of Mashiach in Yerushalayim. But he's like, we can get a taste of Mashiach. What's a taste of Mashiach? Because he's basically because he's like what is Mashiach time? Mashiach time was when we don't have to worry about we don't have to like basically be distracted by our jobs, by our rat race.
Shibud, we don't have to worry about Shibud Malchiyut.
Yeah. He's talking about, like he pointed to a doctor in the front. He's like, doctors, we'll be doctors. They'll still have their title of doctor, but there'll be like essentially no like sick people, or like you said, like they'll have like some little ailments, but it won't be like life threatening. Is that what you said? I think you said this once.
I heard that people won't believe that they're not sick. So
Yeah.
you'll need doctors to prove it to them.
To show it that they're not sick.
It'll take years,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
For people to finally hop
Yeah.
that it's happening.
Yeah. So, I mean, he basically said essentially like, that doctors won't have anything to do. And then he said that, he mentioned that like, there won't be, because what's the main thing? He goes, the main issue is like people are jealous and competitive. There's like jealousy and competition. And he pointed to like, social media. He's like 90% of social media. He goes, I'm convinced that that's like 90% of social media. It's just jealousy and competition. This guy has that and I don't have this and, whatever and this and that, the typical thing. And, the rest of the 10% is just like, a lot of BS that's spread on social media, whatever it is. So he's like, basically, we won't be distracted by all that and we'll have time to, just like learn Torah and know the ways of Hashem. So on that he said, I guess he said good, but like, he was talking about like taste of Mashiach. So you can have a taste of Mashiach by, the 5 minutes or 10 minutes on Shabbos, like, it's just like, you learn, or like you're on Shabbat and like you, instead of like talking about nonsense, about shliyot, you can give yourself a taste of Mashiach. But I'm thinking to myself, like, he's like, he even admitted, he's like, it's not Mashiach, but it's like, the next best thing. And I'm just like, wow, that's really freaking sad.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? Last night, I'll tell you something. Last night I went to a meal, and it was basically like, my goodness, it was basically like, my parents and all their. Basically, it was like a bunch of Soviet Jews. All the people actually became frum in their 50s, like recent, like last 10 years, let's say. And the people were talking about, for like the first hour, all of their experiences, how like growing up in the Soviet Union and going to university and having to get around systemic, like anti-Semitism in the university system. How they had to like, this person couldn't go to this university because he's Jewish. These guys had to go to like
there was a quota. There's a quota of Jews.
Yeah, or like they had to go to like Siberia to go to like, like study, let's say if they're one of the top physicists, they had to go to Siberia, Novosibirsk or Omsk or Tomsk or whatever. Or how my parents had to do this and deal with it. They all had to do some kind of shtick just to like.
Well, it's funny. Jews and Asians are dealing with that now here in America.
Yeah, but like
too many. They're not, like Harvard.
Yeah,
it's like we have enough Jews and Asians. Let's get some other people.
But it's not even close. Like in terms of like the way that like this guy tells a story of how this is the Balabais. He was telling a story how like he there was some kind of like whatever thing that they forced him to go into, some faculty, and then like he didn't know what this was and he had to take a test, and then the He didn't even study because they were like they just surprised him. They told him he's going to be in a different faculty. He totally surprised him. He didn't. He was taken a blindsided, and so the professor, who was like one of these righteous of the nations, who didn't look at the fifth Pятая строчка, the fifth line where it says that he's a Jew. He didn't look at that, and what he did was he
Yeah.
pulled out a different question from like a previous year, which the guy already knew the answer to, like my dad's friend, and he's like, I basically got an A, an undeserved A because of this righteous of the nations professor. So these are the kind of situations, I'm like listening to this for like an hour. This person that had this experience, my parents had this experience. I told my mother straight up after this 1 hour, first couple of course meal, I told her straight up, if that was me in this situation, I probably would have gone the route of, there was a guy named Yosef Mendelevich who stole an airplane and just tried to leave the Soviet freaking Union in St. Petersburg. You know this famous story. They stole an airplane, they hijacked an airplane, they got caught. But they try.
Damn.
This is a frum person now. He's in Jerusalem. Him and like a few other people. They stole an airplane. They tried to fly it to Sweden. That would have been me. Either I would have stabbed someone or I would have just stolen an airplane and got the hell out of there because I wouldn't be able to deal with this. This like kombinot just to pass university. I just literally would break down. And my mother told me, she's like, no, well, you don't know if you would have done that because she's like, we were dissidents, but we knew about those people, and we used to say on those people that they were the real deal because they were not afraid. He's like, you know what it was, you know what happened to those people? They got like a death sentence. They didn't get killed, but they were originally sentenced to death for stealing an airplane. And she's
Yeah.
like, you don't know what you would have done. You were raised with, you were raised over there. You say that. She's like, you say that now with your freedom sensibilities of, America, living in America. But you don't know what you would have done. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just listening to all this, like knowing myself just from like the sheer laziness of like not wanting to like, just do the extra work just to get an A, a 5 just because I'm a Jew. Whereas another person would have to do way less work. You know, I'd be like, I'm too lazy for this shtick. Just like screw everybody. It just sounds like I don't know. It just doesn't sound like the juice was worth the squeeze. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, man.
I don't know. I'm sitting there listening to
It's
this.
funny when you talked about that stealing the plane thing. It reminded me of that movie Firefox
Okay.
with Clint Eastwood when they were using it was the SR-71 Blackbird,
Hmm.
uh, but in the movie it was the Russians that developed it,
Yeah.
and he got smuggled into Russia by a group of Jewish scientists and dissidents,
Yeah.
like refuseniks,
Yeah.
and the two primary scientists who were building this Russian aircraft, which was really the SR-71 Blackbird, is American.
Yeah.
They wanted to make sure that the Russians wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So they
Yeah.
could use, and most of the Jews who smuggled him in that movie, they were all killed.
Yeah.
But he got the SR-71 out of
Oh.
the Soviet hands
Oh.
and flew it to America. This is just
Can I read to you about this whole affair, this whole situation? It was actually called the Dimshits Kuznetsov hijacking affair, also known as the first Leningrad trial or Operation Wedding. Was an attempt to take an empty civilian aircraft. So it's not even a hijacking; it's just a theft. Empty civilian aircraft on June 15th, 1970, by a group of 16 Soviet refuseniks in order to escape to the west. Even though the attempt was unsuccessful, it was a notable event in the course of the Cold War because it drew international attention to human rights violations in the Soviet Union and resulted in the temporary loosening of immigration restrictions. It says, in the wake of 1967's Six-Day War, the Soviet Union broke off diplomatic relations with Israel. To apply for an exit visa, the applicants, and often their entire families, would have to quit their jobs, which in turn would make them vulnerable to charges of social parasitism, a criminal offense. Parasite, A large number of Soviet Jews applied for exit visas to leave the Soviet Union. While some of them were allowed to leave, many were refused permission to emigrate, either immediately or after their cases would languish for years in Avir, which means Отдел виз и регистрации, the Office of Visas and Registration. The MVD, Soviet Ministry of Internal Affairs, department of responsible for exit visas. In many instances, the reason given for denial was that these persons had been given access at some point in their careers to information vital to Soviet national security and could not be allowed to leave. Like my mother, for example, my grandfather had access to that, so like I guess any family member of a person like that was not allowed to leave. That's why my parents were refusing for 10 years. So he says, in 1970, a group of 16 refuseniks, two of whom were not Jewish, organized by dissident Edward Kuznetsov, who already had served a 7-year term in prison for publishing anti-Soviet newspaper called Phoenix, plotted to buy all the seats on a small 12-seater Antonov AN-2, colloquially known as Kukuruznik, Cornhusker, on a Leningrad Priozersk local flight, under the guise of a trip to a wedding, throw out the pilots before takeoff from an intermediate stop, and fly to Sweden. Their final goal was to arrive in Israel. One of the participants, Mark Dimchitz, was a former military pilot who had experience flying the AN-2s. The group called the plan Operation Wedding. After the plan had evolved over a period of months, it was finally launched in June 1970. In the morning of June 15th, the group arrived together in Smolny, later Rzhevka Airport near Leningrad, only to be arrested by the KGB. Aftermath. The accused were charged with high treason, punishable by death under Article 64 of the Penal Code of the Russian Soviet Federative Socialist Republic, SFSR, in a trial that took place from December 15th to December 24th, 1970. Mark Dimchitz, age 43, and Edward Kuznetsov, age 30, received the death sentence. The prison sentences received by 9 other participants were as follows. Silva Zalmanson, I actually met her daughter, age 25, then Kuznetsov's wife, the only woman on trial, 10 years. Yosef Mendelevich, okay. Yosef Mendelevich, age 23, and Yuri Fyodorov, 15 years. Alexei Murzhenko, age 28, 14 years. Aryeh Leib Hanoch, age 25, 13 years. Anatoly Altman, age 28, 12 years. Boris Penson, 10 years. Israel Zalmanson, age 21, 8 years. And Mendel Bodnia, age 32, 4 years. Wolf Zalmanson, age 31, brother of Silva and Israel Zalmanson, who was a lieutenant in the Soviet Army, was tried separately by a military tribunal, and on January 2nd, 1971, sentenced to 10 years imprisonment. After international protest, the Judicial Commission for Criminal Cases of the RSFSR Supreme Court in Moscow considered an appeal of the cases and modified the sentences, commuting the capital sentences of Dimchitz and Kuznetsov to 15 years in prison, and reducing the length of prison terms for several other defendants by 2 to 5 years. Strong international condemnations caused the Soviet authorities to significantly increase the immigration quota. In the years 1960 through 1970, only 4,000 people had legally emigrated from USSR. After the trial in the period from 1971 to 1980, 347,100 people received a visa to leave the USSR, of whom 245,951 were Jews. Wow, it's incredible what one thing can do. In August 1974, Silva Zalmanson was released as part of an Israeli secret Soviet prisoner exchange with the spy Yuri Linov that took place in Berlin, after which she emigrated to Israel, arriving in September. In the following year, she advocated for the release of her husband, Edward Kuznetsov, and other dissidents. Kuznetsov was finally released on April 27th, 1979, and joined his wife in Israel. Mark Dimchitz was released at the same time, along with 3 other prominent Soviet dissidents, Alexander Ginsburg, Valentin Moroz, and Georgy Vins. The release of the 5 dissidents came after long negotiations as part of a prisoner exchange for 2 Soviet foreign intelligence officers, Rudolf Chernyaev and Vladik Enger. The Soviet operatives, who were employed at the time at the United Nations Secretariat, had been sentenced in a U.S. federal court to 50 years in prison in October 1978, following their arrest in New Jersey the previous May, while collecting an agent's report from a secret cache a co-conspirator of Vladimir Zinyakin, an attaché of the Soviet mission to the UN, had diplomatic immunity and was not charged. After immigrating to Israel, Kuznetsov headed the news department of Radio Liberty 1983 to 1990 and was the chief editor of the largest Israeli Russian language newspaper, Vesti, 1990 to 1999, and the most popular Russian language newspaper outside of Russia. The Committee to Free the Leningrad Three, headed by Colorado State Senator Tillman Bishop, was instrumental in organizing grassroots and diplomatic campaigns to release the remaining prisoners. In February 1981, Mendelevich was released and joined his family in Israel. He urged continuance of the campaign to free two members of the group, Fyodorov and Murzenko. The fact that both are non-Jewish is the worst example of Soviet discrimination and must not pass without protest, he said. On June 15, 1984, Alexei Murzenko, who lived until 1999, was released only to be rearrested for parole violation and sentenced to another 2 years. He was released June 4, 1987, immigrated to the US in February 29, 1988. In June 1985, after serving 15 years, Yuri Fyodorov was released under the 101st kilometer settlement restriction. He was denied an exit visa until 1988 when he left for the United States. In 1998, he founded the Gratitude Fund in order to commemorate the Soviet dissidents who waged the war against Soviet power and sacrificed their personal freedom and their lives for democracy. In 2016, Operation Wedding, is a documentary about the hijacking directed by Anat Zalmanson Kuznetsov, the daughter of Kuznetsov and Silva Zalmanson, two participants in the plot, was released. I think I've seen this documentary. Yeah, that's the story, man. What do you think?
That's great. What do you think? Why, like, what did you want us to know by reading the story?
There were some people at that time, like this guy Mendelevich. He's a religious guy. He's like a Haredi. He's the only one of, I think, out of all these people who ended up being really frum. He teaches in Mahon Meir and the Rav Kook in the Russian program over there for Bali Tshuva in Jerusalem. I think a lot of, I was saying yesterday that, it's, at the end of the day, everybody left. This was the biggest exodus. The Soviet Union was a modern day Mitzrayim. This was the biggest exodus of Jews from any place since Mitzrayim itself, since Yetziat Mitzrayim itself. And I said it's one thing to exit physically, it's quite another to exit psychologically. And I think these people, for sure, if you grab a plane, you for sure left it already. You already left it psychologically before you left it physically. As opposed to the people who, left on what's called kolbasna immigracja, kolbasa immigration, people who just had to leave because everybody was leaving. I was reading a whole Hasidus on the parsha that we read on Pesach, and it speaks about how there's a midrash that talks about how like the Jews Pharaoh sent them out. It doesn't say they just left. Pharaoh sent them out. It means like, and I thought automatically when I heard that I thought about the how the Jews in Soviet Union, they left because they just left. Like they were everybody was leaving, and like a lot of people didn't want to go. Like my parents have relatives that didn't want to go. They were happy there, or they were like not suffering there. Let's put it that way. And they had all these like, oh, what am I going to do in America? I don't have the language. This whole stuff.
Yeah.
What am I going to do over there? What this? What that? And they just came because like one of their family members just dragged them by the, as we say in Russian, by the shkirka. By the cats have the, or dogs also have that. The back of the neck, that little piece of loose.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Loose, fur, loose skin, and they were dragged by that part. And I thought of those people, those people that just left because they were sent out, but ultimately in their minds they're still in Mitzrayim. They're still Safki. Their entire modality is fear. I think you mentioned this. Everything they do is either motivated by fear or desire for something. you know?
Did I
And
say that?
I don't know if you said that or somebody else said that. I was talking to somebody about this, but maybe I heard it somewhere. But, you know, a lot of it's fear, you know?
Yeah,
And
fear. Fear is scary.
and
That's
it's
right.
and it's interesting, man. Like I was listening to whatever.
That's legit. That's legitimate, by the way. I'm not.
Yeah,
I don't criticize people motivated by fear. You know, with all these all these heroes,
yeah.
all of a sudden, like you're motivated by fear.
No,
F you.
what I mean by fear is, listen, I'm not excluded from this, but what I mean by fear is
I
like,
know. I'm just saying. Like you have these people, you know, with this attitude, like,
yeah,
oh, I don't want to be. I don't want to be one of these people motivated by fear. You know what I mean? And you know, it's
uh,
like, good for you. You know what I
no,
mean?
but
Like most people are scared.
no, I'll give you an example. Like a lot of people, for example, like how should I put? Like I was listening to a story of, you know, one of these people, one of the my parents' friends was talking about his daughter who's like my age, and she's a doctor. You know, she's a top doctor. She's a good doctor, you know. And he was telling me how she, in the beginning when she was doing, you know, the whole rounds thing and all this kind of stuff, you know, she was studying for the boards and she was working at this one hospital which was like a 2 hour drive away. And at the same time, she's Shomer Shabbos and she has kids and, you know, not sleeping and just like hell, you know? And I'm thinking to myself, like, I literally wanted to ask him. I think I did ask him this. I'm like, did anybody put a gun to your daughter to do any of this? Well, she likes it and this and that. I'm like, she likes it, but it sounds like you're describing hell. Well, you know, you got to be like, she wanted to be like the best in her profession and, you know, lives are whatever at stake and this and that. And I'm thinking to myself, like, lives are at stake, but the only reason lives are at stake is because we still have a thing called sickness in this world, you know?
Yeah.
And like, but again, I came back to like, what kind of a life is this? Like, yeah, you're doing well. You have, you know, you're making a good amount.
Nobody is doing well.
No, no,
Let,
you, like this person's
I got to stop you for a
no, no,
second.
no. I
I
mean,
got.
I'm talking about in terms of financially. You're making a good amount of money, but you don't have a life. The girl, like, I see her from time to time. You know, she looks like somebody was punching her in the face all night. Is that life? Like they have kids. You know, she's married, 3 kids. They're all in like day school. They have to pay for their day school. You know, the husband's a lawyer. She's a doctor. But is that a life?
No, it's not. I'd like to comment now.
You know? Yeah. Yeah.
Can I say something now?
Please, please. Yeah.
Nobody has a life in this world, and people don't know it. You ever heard that expression? The guy is dead, but just doesn't realize it yet.
Yeah.
Guess what? All of us are like that, and none of us realize it because we don't know any better. It's like that old metaphor of the people in the cave,
Yeah.
right? That all that they see is some kind of like
Yeah.
light shadows on the wall.
Allegory of the cave. Yeah.
The allegory of the cave. Okay,
Yeah.
they don't know what it's like outside of the cave. They don't know that there is an outside of the cave.
Yeah.
Or like I'm sure people have heard like do you believe in mother? Right?
In what?
Where you have twins inside.
Ah, yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
womb,
Yes, yes, yes,
right?
yes,
And
yes.
one of them was like, I can't wait to be born because he goes, what are you talking about? There's nothing after, right? He goes, what's this mother you speak of? This, right? There's 2 babies in the womb, and that's what everything sucks.
Yeah.
People don't understand that. Actually, I think people do understand. A lot of people do understand that, or some of it. But everything that we're doing, most people, is just like we're trying to. Everything that we do, the motivation, is to forget about what we are scared of, death and loss and pain and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All the activities that people engage in is to distract themselves from that fact.
Yeah.
No, that's what everybody's motivation is to get to a state of mind which is as close as possible to true denial.
You mean even
of what's
becoming like the top doctor in some kind of field or whatever it
all
is?
of it, all of it, all of it. Okay, because um, that's that. Everybody wants to run away. Nobody wants to look at it. Um, okay, the only people that are trying to do something about that, or change that reality are, you know, like religious people. Let's say religious people in general. I'm sure religious Christians
But I'm
and
talking about
religious
a religious
Muslims and
person. This is a Shomer
no,
Shabbos
no,
person I'm talking about.
but hold on. I'm gonna get to that.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, ideally,
Yeah.
that's what a religious person uh, wants to do, right? Or thinks that they do, right? Sometimes they succeed, sometimes they don't. But I would say that, let's put it this way: unless your motivation, if you're a religious Jew, unless you're obsessed with Mashiach, right?
Yeah.
And everything that you do is to bring Mashiach. Unless you're doing that, but seriously though, seriously,
Yeah.
right? Like desperately, because you realize that's your only way out of death, right? That's the only way out of being in a reality like this, where all you have to look forward to is sickness and death. That's really the truth.
Yeah.
Okay, just everybody lives their life trying to forget that or ignore that or distract themselves from that as long as possible.
Well, they're trying
Okay,
to not only distract, but no, a lot of people try to do, until now they have like a health craze, so we're just trying to like decelerate that process, so we're trying to
right?
make that
Decelerate
process
it,
not
delay it,
happen.
but not look at the inevitable
Yeah.
that there's only one way to truly deal with
As
it.
we're going to the gym and eating healthy, but at the same time taking garbage needles in our arms 3 times,
Well,
right?
that's already
Which
that's
is
part of
like
the
which is
mental
like
illness.
which cancels out everything you could possibly ever do in that department.
That's part of the mental illness, the
Yeah.
same mental illness. But we'll get into that.
Yeah.
My point was that unless you're davening, you're going to daven, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're obsessed with Mashiach as a coming as a result of your davening, meaning like no time for practice, like
Yeah.
there's no rehearsals, like you're doing it now because
Yeah.
time is running out, right?
Yeah.
You, that davening has to work to bring Mashiach. If it doesn't, you're gonna die, and so is everybody that you love. You're gonna watch them suffer.
Eventually.
This is a
Yeah.
horrible, horrible reality. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't care about look at the beauty of life and gratitude about the opportunities. Fuck all of that. I'm not grateful about this reality, about being in this reality. I don't care. Say what you want about me. I want seriously this reality to change. Okay, we're told that Mashiach is the only way to do that. Okay, so if you're a religious Jew and you're doing mitzvahs, right, and you're not obsessed with Mashiach, you are just another person
Yeah.
who is just doing stuff to distract
Just
yourself
to
like
do it.
everybody else.
So here's my question: have you told a rabbi what you exactly in the words that you just told me? And if you have,
No,
what has been their response?
I have never spoken to a rabbi that I don't know that many
I
rabbis,
think you
but I
should.
don't.
I think you should.
I know what they're going to say to
What
me.
are they gonna say? What do
They're
you
going to
think?
say a bunch of words.
Like what do you give me an example of what you would just give me an example of what you think he would say. Don't say a bunch
I
of
know. I've said. Listen, I'm not gonna use the same words that I use with you right
paraphrase
now.
what you
But
think what they would say.
no, no, no. What I'm saying is like this. Like you asked me, have I ever said that to a rabbi? Yes, not all in once, but in various ways.
Okay.
I've said these same
Okay.
things,
Okay.
and there's never an answer. It's always more rhetoric. You know why?
Okay.
You know why? Because it's an unfair question to them. Because they can't tell me what they really feel.
Why not?
They tell me
Why
what
can't
they
they?
think I need to hear,
Why
or
can't they?
what is acceptable. You understand?
Why can't they tell you? Why do you think they can't tell you they really feel?
Because they are because if anybody feels like me, they're ashamed of it,
Why?
and they're Why?
Yeah, why?
Because it's irreligious.
Dude,
It's
I'm
disrespectful.
not ashamed of it. And
I'm
if
not ashamed of it either. I'm telling you why
the only thing I
why
will
they
say is that I think there's a element of it which is a little bit, and I was thinking about this during davening this morning, and I'll explain to you why I think I'm not going to use the word infantile. I'm going to use the word, you know, that in order for, okay, you know, remember how Manus Friedman said when Mashiach comes, he's going to tell us why this was all necessary, right? He's going to tell us why. I have a feeling that Hashem wants us to start learning the Pneumius, or he wants us to learn the Pneumius, and I know that you say that you don't care about the reasons why, because every time I say if we learn the Premius, we'll know the reasons why. We'll get closer to knowing the reasons why. But I feel like a big part of it is that Hashem just wants us to learn the Pneumius, and in learning the Pneumius, we'll understand at the very least not only the reasons why. We will, how should I put this? We will come as close as possible to getting into the mind of Hashem, which we can't even begin to understand. But that's essentially what he wants from us. He just wants us to get into that process of learning the Pneumius to even come close to understanding why the heck he's doing all of this, why he needed to do all of this.
I don't
Short,
think so because
short of
based
Mashiach's
on what the
arrival and him telling us this, why?
no, I don't think so, Greg.
Okay.
Because what I've heard the Rebbe say
Yeah.
that the reasons for all these things and suffering is absolutely incomprehensible.
Okay.
The Rebbe said that many times.
So if it's
It's
incomprehensible,
absolutely
okay. So if it's
incomprehensible.
incomprehensible, then we listen, man. So then, you know what's really messed up? The fact that people, both Jews and non-Jews, throughout history, have actually dropped religion as a result of either experiencing, tragedies, or witnessing tragedies with their friends, their
Yeah,
loved ones.
yeah.
And so, why the hell would God do that? That's terrible. Why would he want people to leave him by
Yeah,
giving them
because
shit?
it doesn't he doesn't bother to explain why he does what he does. That's one of the difficulties
No, but do you understand?
of
Like, God wants to be close to you, but like he creates situations where he pushes people away forever.
right,
Forever and
right.
ever. Not
Well,
it's not like Eov, where it's like it's a test and the person get passes the test and he comes closer to Hashem, or people like you and me, where we have hardships, we come close. Maybe we come closer to Hashem. No, people just leave. They say, "Fuck you, Hashem. I'm gone. I'm gone. Never keeping Shabbos. Never keeping kosher. Pashol tivon."
right. No, I mean,
Why would he do
well,
that?
to God. Wait, are you ready to? Are you still?
Sorry, I'm just yeah,
So to God, nothing has ever gone forever because
for sure.
everything God is Aino Novago. There's
Yeah,
nothing but God.
yeah,
Even those people
yeah,
are just part of God.
yeah,
Like God doesn't lose them.
yeah. Of course not.
You'll hear something like, "Well, they lost an opportunity to show God,
Yeah,
the power of their faith," or blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff.
yeah, yeah.
But He doesn't lose them,
No, but they
right?
lost him. You know what I mean?
They didn't lose Him either. They just lost an opportunity. That's how it'll be, explained. All right. Um, there's nothing that can separate uh, people from God. Nothing. Okay. So that's not really a concern. But to God, it just seems like people's lifetimes are like like trivial.
Yeah,
Meaning like not trivial as in like not important, but trivial as in like it doesn't feel like a long time to God.
no, it's not
You
at
know what I
all.
mean?
It's not at all.
Like God doesn't experience. There's. I have a question which I know there's no answer to. There's no one who can answer. Okay, I have a bunch of unfair questions. If the questions are unfair, if they're asked to any human being, right?
Okay.
Whether or not God wants to answer them in the future or whatever, that's up to God. But the question is, can God feel what it's like to be a little creature who's full of panic waiting to be rescued? Interesting question, huh?
Yeah.
Does God know what it's like to be one of his creatures? Not it's not such a quick answer, is
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Right? Because people are going to want to say, yeah, of course he knows everything. Yeah, really?
Do you know? I sometimes wonder. I have a cat. We have a cat. He just turned 9 years old. How long do you think cats live on
I don't want
average?
to think about that because I have cats,
Dude, I
and to me, I don't want to know. I don't talk about how old they are.
dude, I found out that our cat has like some sort of weird heart condition. It's not like super detrimental, but it's one of those things where it's like, it's just there. We found out last year. And it's like, you know, he's like the guy's like a member of the family. Like, you know, the fuck.
Of course he is.
You know what I mean? It's whack. It's really whack. And you can say, oh, he's a
Yeah,
cat. Who cares? He's a cat. Like Israelis. Oh, it's a cat. It's like a rat. I want to freaking hit those people. The dude's a human. Like, he understands. Like, when I tell him, come home at 10 o'clock, he understands me exactly what I'm saying.
but the thing is, it doesn't have to be something doesn't have to be human to be important.
No, I know. I know.
You know what I mean?
I'm just saying he has like sentience of a person you can relate to. You know what I mean? Be like one thing if it's like a dumb animal who just like kind of, you know, has no relation to you. But like the guy's like.
People just say things and do things and sing things just to kind of cope. It's a reaction of relativity, right?
Yeah,
Relative to the situation we're in is something sad
yeah.
because the underlying reality is everything is sad. Everything is because God continues to allow death to exist, to be experienced, and pain and separation, and and anything. So the underlying reality is suckage, major suckage.
So here's my
That's
question,
the
man.
default setting.
Can I ask you a question?
Okay.
You probably
So
know. You remember that I was engaged a few years ago, and the engagement broke off. And it's interesting. One of our listeners, uh, she I don't know how she figured this out, but this is actually what she wrote exactly about me is true. Just let me find exactly the place where she wrote it. One second. One second. One second. One second.
I want to talk about Pesach Shani when you're
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just want you to here. Um, she wrote to me. Here you go. Cause she mentioned, how I mentioned a few times that I lost a kid on the program. I mentioned, with an ex of mine, and she wrote to me, and now I heard that it's true. What I wasn't sure about, if I understood it right, you lost a child. Very sad. Could this be the reason why you can't find a woman? I'm like, what the hell? She's like,
Who
you
who
are
who, who said this again?
one of our listeners, one of our female listeners.
Dear God.
But she meant it like not in a, insulting way.
I know. I
It's
know.
just like German to English kind of direct translation. I mean, you were attractive, and it is. She wrote the rest of this in Russian. Удивительно. It's surprising that such a guy can't find a girl. I
He
mean
can
this.
find him. He doesn't like him.
No, yeah, exactly. She's like, I mean this. It's not just for being polite. And then she goes, I mean, your neshama might, every time a woman comes close, do something to keep her away, to avoid experiencing the same pain, the same loss again. I mean, it's funny because she referred to my losing a child, but I was thinking of my broken engagement. And I responded, maybe I thought about that, but I have met and dated women in the last few years, just not the right one. And she's like, yeah, I don't doubt that you have met women, but your neshama could do something to keep the right women away, or choose the wrong women for dating to make sure that the pain would not happen again. My neshama, meaning like subconsciously.
That's not your. It's not your neshama. That's your animal soul
Yeah,
does that.
yeah,
Not your
yeah.
neshama.
Well, this is a whatever person who doesn't know the difference. And she spoke to me as something like, when you were most attractive when you were upset about other people and start speaking loudly. It has a very strong emotional, honest energy, at least in my perception. It's funny. I told her it's funny you say that because most women would say the opposite. They don't like when a guy loses control like that. Whatever. But it's just interesting that the person said this. And And I thought to myself, like, am I blocking myself from love, literally, you know, because I don't want to lose it again, because I know the pain of that loss, like horrible, horrible pain. I lost a zivug, man, you know, like, and it's almost like when I lost that person, the person's alive, Baruch Hashem, but it's almost like they died, you know, it's almost like I had a death, like I mourned it. What do you
Yeah, I
think?
don't think so.
Okay, you don't think I'm blocking anything?
No,
Okay,
I mean,
so
no, no. You're no. I mean, you're blocking, but it's not because of that trauma.
okay,
It's not because of that.
so what do you
It's
think?
just you're just kind of a douchebag.
I'm actually not.
I mean, kind of.
I'm totally not.
I'm somewhat. I'm somewhat joking.
I'm actually a total mensch to every woman I let's say date.
Yeah, but that's not as funny as what I was saying. Like, you ruined my
Yes.
goddamn stick again.
Yes, no, but
Okay.
but I'm saying with your stick you have to qualify what you even mean.
Well, you didn't give me a chance. Right
I'm
away you're
giving you a
just like,
chance.
I'm actually not. Like,
I'm giving you a
totally.
chance.
It's like you poured water on it.
Okay.
You really did.
So
Don't feel about the
maybe that's
setup.
what makes me a douchebag.
That's the douchebaggy part of you that you ruined shtick. That's the main douchebag part of you. No, but the other stuff is like just like, uh, no, it's like, look, in some ways it would be easier if you were simpler. You know what I mean?
Of
In
course it
terms of
would
like,
be. Of course it would be.
hold on a second. Hold on a second. Okay, I know men, right, who don't expect a whole lot out of women. Okay,
I
and
also
I
don't,
know
man.
women
I also
who
don't.
don't expect a whole lot out of men.
I don't expect a
Okay,
lot of women either, man. I don't know where you got
just a
that
moment.
from.
Just a moment. Can't I say anything without you jumping on me for two
You
seconds?
can.
Okay. All right. All right. So I know guys who will be like, "What? She is nice. She is a goodly. She looks nice. She's good. She's a healthy. Okay, she's a woman. That's it."
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. You're not that simple. You're far more complex than that,
Yeah,
right?
but I'm not as complex as I think. That's what I found recently. I am complex, but I'm not as complex as I think. But I'm not that simple, but I'm also not super complex.
Right. So
At least,
get that simple. Become that simple. Okay.
listen,
I think
man,
you might have to.
dude, it just the whole endeavor sounds like it's just it shouldn't be that difficult. You understand? It shouldn't be that difficult. You
You're
know,
right. It's
do you know? Do you
I'm
know?
showing you how
Do
to
you
make
know,
it simple.
dude? Can I give you an example of the at this point in my life? What is the main, so to speak, hurdle? A guy
Yeah.
comes
The
up to
fact that
me,
you're not simple.
dude. A guy comes up to me. No, at the minion that I'm part of. Nice guy, very nice guy. I like the guy. He's Israeli. And can I tell you something? These are the types of situations that lead me to think, and I know that it's not true what I start to think, but they lead me to think because it keeps happening over and over and over again. This isn't the first time this happened. He tried to set me up with a girl. It's his wife's cousin, or his no, I'm sorry, his cousin, somewhere in Canada. She's 35 years old, which is not even that big of a problem, but she's off the derech. And he sees that I'm a serious person. I'm not like super Haredi, I'm not super this, but I'm a serious person in some regards. And on top of that, I'm always like, he's giving a shir, let's say, Torah, and sometimes says something in Hebrew, he doesn't, have the English, and I help him translate the Hebrew because I know what he's talking about. He sees that I'm somewhat knowledgeable in Torah. I'm Shomer Shabbos. I'm trying to grow. And he brings me, and he has the audacity, and he's not the first person to do this, to try to set me up with a girl who's off the fucking derech. Or who's not even, like, I've had people try to say, I literally have asked the question, I've had the balls to ask this question. Would you set up a rabbi with this girl? I'm not a rabbi. Would you set up a rabbi with this girl? No, you wouldn't. So why you set me up with her? Like, dude, am I just chopped, what's wrong with me? Am I chopped liver? Tell me.
No,
If I am, just tell me.
I can tell you what some people are thinking.
It's just
I don't
Baal
know if
Tshuva
that's
or what? Am I 41 years old? What? Am I look like pterodactyl? What? What's the
what
problem?
Are you ready?
I'm ready, bro. I'm ready.
Okay, they think that you can bring them back.
No, I can't. I'm not Jesus. No. I'm not going to bring them back. I've tried. I've done it. I've tried. I have failed. Women do not
No, but
go.
that's no, I'm just saying that's what people think.
They can think
That's
whatever they
their
want,
thought.
but why am I the guy? Why me? What there was a soccer player, Mario Balotelli. He played for Manchester City, and he's like a rabble rouser, And he scored a goal, and he has a shirt under his jersey. Who pulled it up, and it says, "Why always me? Why
Well,
always me?"
here's another reason why.
Fuck.
It's so simple. It's like you can't handle how simple the answer is. So the answer is like this. It comes down to the way that you look. So
In
you're
what
not
sense?
wearing a black suit
I know it
with
does. I
white.
know it does. I asked them like,
That's
yeah,
what it is. That's
yeah,
all it
but
is.
in Israel it's not like
That's
that, dude.
how simple and
Dude, but
shallow
in
people
Israel
are.
it's not like that, and this guy's Israeli. In Israel it's not like that. And he's only seen me in pants and a shirt. He hasn't seen me in my regular clothing. He's seen
Yeah,
me in
but you're not.
Shabbos.
You don't have that. Like you don't got the Haredi yeshiva boy look.
It doesn't
You
matter.
understand what I'm
I've
saying?
seen guys who look like me who would never be able to be set up with these kind of girls. It doesn't matter. It's only me. I don't know. I have some sort of weird, I don't know, Rick James aura around me that I have like cocaine up my ass. I don't know. You know the aura? He was
Yeah,
Rick.
yeah.
Dude, I don't. It's just me. It's only me. I want to rip
It's
my
probably
hair
not.
out,
It's probably not only you. It's probably not only you.
dude. Это можно лопнуть. It's this
Yeah.
happened to me. I sometimes maybe chuck it up. Maybe Hashem's trying to send me a message. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing something not enough, something wrong. Maybe I need to elevate, to the next level. I don't know. I don't know what it
Yeah,
is.
man. Nah, it's just your. I think, like I said, people are just not.
People are fucking stupid. What? Pardon my language,
Yes, yes. I didn't want to say it out loud, but people are just not terribly
dude. This
impressive.
guy, this guy is smart. This guy is smart.
Again, here's again with the smart thing. We talked about this. Remember what we defined what smart was, right? Smart was if everything closed down, if all industry ended, and there was no,
Yeah,
modernity,
yeah.
right? Would you be able to survive a couple of days without any of this stuff? The people who are smart know how to make good decisions, figure out how to prioritize, become a leader, find people who are specialized. Remember we talked about this, right? Like
Yeah.
what happens if civilization,
Yeah.
the grid goes out, all that kind of stuff. Who are the smart people? The smart people know how to isolate or how to identify what's most important in any given situation. It doesn't mean that they, are good at chess,
Yeah.
okay, or they know how to do math problems really well, or stuff like that. That's what intelligence is, okay. The other stuff like doing math problems really well, or playing chess, those are skills. That's
Dude,
not
do you know what
intelligence.
pisses me off the most? These are the same people in the same flippin' breath who will come up to me. This one other guy in shul came up to me and is like, "How old are you?" I'm like, "How old do you think I am?" We started playing this game, but he's like, "I have a beautiful, she's like, he has a niece. She's like 23. He thought I was like 30,
Perfect.
and I'm like, I'm 41. He's like, "No snap, no shit." I'm like, "Yeah." And this and it's just like he started making assumptions about me. He's like, "Yeah, you're probably like having a good time." I'm like, "No, I'm not having a good time. I'm not having a good time. I'm not having a good time. I'm looking to get married." He thought I meant like he
Yeah.
was trying to say I'm like a player or something like that. No, I was in my 20s. I'm trying to get married, bro. No, he says like, so what happened? What's the problem? I'm like, listen, like this guy grew up from, I'm like, I'm trying to explain to him like, listen, man, I became from when I was 31 years old. I was engaged 2 years after that, and then after that broke off, I wasted a lot of time dating in the Orthodox world, you know, and going along with the modality of the like, which doesn't work with these people. And so I wasted a lot of time. So now I'm kind of like in a situation where it's like crap, like what now, He kind of like nodded his head. I guess he understood, but like at the end of the day, he can't relate.
Right.
So it's just like people throw things at the wall, seeing what sticks. And like I don't know, man. And it's just like, you know, and the same token, they say, "Oh, you're such a great guy. You're not chopped liver. What do you mean you're not chopped liver?" But then everything they do to quote unquote try to help me points to the fact that maybe I am in their world. You know, and I actually was funny. I was talking to my friend who grew up from, and I was saying how like actually I was whatever like there was a group chat of a few guys. One of them, two of them grew up from. Another guy kind of grew up half and half. And I said like, you know, like a lot of these people that are trying to like set you up. I was trying to tell this guy like to stay away from shadchanim. I was telling him last year. He's like, no, you just didn't meet the right shadchan, this and that and the other, whatever. And I was like, listen, man, I wasn't trying to tell you this to win an argument with you. I was trying to tell you this because this guy now is like, he had a downfall. The guy had like mamish, he's in a depression because of this. He's like, I don't relate to from girls. I don't relate to any of this from dating stuff. I just want to have a normal relationship, normal like intimacy. When he says intimacy, he means just like sitting on a couch with a girl and hugging her and watching a movie. He's not talking about sex, right? I just want to have normalcy. That's what he's saying. I'm like, dude, I'm there with you. And so like I'm like, you have to understand something. The people that are supposedly ostensibly trying to help us, they're not trying to help us. They're trying to help, you know, they're trying to sell the car that needs to be sold off the lot. You know, the clearance sale, the car that didn't get sold, aka that
Yeah.
girl who's like in her mid to late 30s who needs to get married, and you're the sucker. You're the guy who just walked on the lot, you know, in the used car lot, and the guy and the salesman sees you. Oh, there's the sucker now. There he goes. Beautiful. Let's give him this Pinto. You know, that blows
Yeah.
up when you hit it from the back. No pun
No, man.
intended. No pun intended.
Yeah. No, obviously, dude. Obviously, you know, the reality is it's up for the Balchuva guys. It's up to you guys. You know, you can't
Yeah,
do it.
we're in the desert on our own. It's not.
But no, it's not. It's not the desert. You just gotta give up the idea that someone is gonna help you.
Of course and I've done that a long time ago, and then I tried to tell this guy. But what pisses me off is when people approach me. You know, I don't approach people, and they're like, "Oh, I have this," you know, and they tell me in the same breath that I'm this and I'm that. But then it's like
Okay, so
you
the
should
solution for,
literally
the
see the
solution for
girls,
you.
dude. I no offense to anybody listening, and I don't mean to put myself on a pedestal. Maybe I a little bit do. I don't care at this point. You should see the girls they try to set me up with, man. Like I'm trying to have
This is
kids,
not good.
man. I'm trying to have kids. I'm
This
not
is
Baba Sali.
right. So
Like
listen,
like you know what I'm saying?
Greg.
You know what
So
I'm
listen.
saying.
I know what you're
I ain't
saying.
just
We
trying
all
to
know
have
what you're
kids.
saying.
I'm
All
trying
right.
to, you
Now
know what I'm
listen.
saying?
Listen a little bit.
Yeah,
Listen a little bit.
yeah,
Stop having those conversations.
yeah,
Just say I'm not interested. That's it. Anybody comes up to you, you know what it's going to be like.
yeah.
Probably. Okay. I think that there's one little part of you that says, but what if? But
No,
what if?
no, it's not
Right?
little part. You know what happens after that? I'll tell you exactly what happens. The person, usually it's a person who knows me for a good amount of time. The people get upset and they stop talking to me. Or it's like they think I'm picky. And I'm like, I'm not that picky. I'm picky in some sense, but I'm not as picky as you think. You know? And it's just like, it's a social faux pas. It ends up being like a Larry
No,
David situation.
listen, the people think they're doing you a huge favor
I don't need
when
to.
they come over to you.
Yeah,
This is a problem.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
People are stupid, dude. They're so stupid. It's just not. Unfortunately, that's just what it's
But you know
like.
what my problem is? I project. You know, I made or I've attempted. Well, I made one shidduch in my entire life, or two. I think two, and I've attempted maybe two others. But the only reason I even attempted any of them, any of four or three, was because I literally knew both of the people on either side involved at some level, and I thought upon like very rigorous examination in my head and just you know kind of observing both people for a very long period of time and seeing maybe these two people would go together. I did not try to throw crap at a wall and see what sticks. So it's kind of like it's the same thing with the whole vaccine thing. You know, I always attribute what I would do. You know, it's like Dave Chappelle. It sounds like something that I would say. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I attribute my own intelligence to other people. Because I think that there's got to be at least one other person who has a brain. One other, just one, not 10, not 5, one. There hasn't been one who has the same seichel as me when it comes to, or sensibility, let's say, when it comes to this issue. No, это можно, I don't know. It's mathematically impossible, or is it?
Yeah. So instead of, all right, we got to move off this topic
Yes.
a little bit,
Yes.
right? Because so what you need to do is just go to Miami. All right, you got to hang out. Got to come back to Miami, um, and just kind of. There's a lot of good-looking girls here.
Yeah, but are they from? They're not.
Yeah. Some of them are from. Yes, some of them are from.
Bro, can I tell you something? I spent some time in Brickell. None of those girls are from over there at this Chabad. Not one.
Okay, fine, but no, but that's okay. Okay, first of all, um, even in a place like Brickell, you could probably find a girl that's like she might be new to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's very interested.
And can I tell you
very
something?
spirited.
Can I tell you something? When I meet those types of girls, they see me. They spend some time with me, and they tell me, "Svi, you're too religious for me." I've had that many times. So I'm too religious for them. I'm not religious enough for religious girls, and that's basically it. I'm telling you, this is my experience.
All right, so don't reveal that much of yourself too quickly.
Okay.
Like give it out more piecemeal.
Okay.
Because your personality, you kind of put it all
No,
out there.
no, I do. No, listen, I do give it out piecemeal. It's just that women are perceptive. They see what's going. They see. They eventually see, like, just by
Well,
virtue of being next to me, they see what I'm about.
there's another.
I don't
There's
push
also
it.
another. There's another angle to this, which is that even though, most of them are not going to be winners, right? Because we only end up with one lady, right?
Yeah.
So even though so far it hasn't worked out, it doesn't. One of them is going to work out.
The question
Okay,
is
you can't.
the question is when, man, because I'm tired of waiting. That's my problem.
Well, we don't have an option of like. We're not being like back to this world sucking. Okay.
Yeah.
That's just part of the suckage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What universe did you come from where you have a different expectation? Like I'm tired of this
Well, I don't
waiting.
know. Well, wait a minute, dude. Seeing my friends get married and people I know get married in a cinch, left and right. And I'm just going to weddings, someone else's weddings, over and over again. And,
Perhaps.
you know,
Look, I noticed. I noticed something.
and it's
Nobody, nobody has a better deal than anybody else,
I know.
right? Some people like have similar deals to each other. Like for instance,
Yeah.
like everybody. I don't know. I'm going to create a fake situation. I don't want to get too close to reality.
Okay.
Right? Let's say there's a town where everybody gets the same everybody gets like a house with 2-car garage, and a backyard, right? Comes standard with a barbecue grill in the back, right? Everybody gets a pass to the local public pool, and everybody has like a similar thing. But another thing that everybody deals with is that they live next to power lines, so everybody dies around the age of 60, no more. Like nobody really gets past 60 too much.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just creating a hypothetical situation where people get a certain package,
Yeah.
they're dealt a certain hand, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you go to a place where everybody is dealt a similar hand,
Yeah.
but they still deal with major suckage.
Yeah.
Sometimes you go to a place where everybody has a similar deal, but it's very different from yours, right? Your deal is very different. It looks different than everybody else's, but your suckage is different than theirs.
Yeah.
But the suckage always balances out, always, one way or another.
Listen, man.
There's not a single person I've ever met that I'd wanted to switch places with.
Yeah,
Not a single person.
For sure. Listen, can I tell you something at this point? Another aspect of this whole thing is that, my parents.
I've met billionaires.
I know.
Good-looking billionaires.
I wouldn't switch
I
places
would
with
not
them.
want their
No.
life.
No, I would not. I would not either. Listen, man, at this point, my parents have all these friends who have grandkids, and I just want to give my parents grandkids. And it seems like Hashem doesn't give a rat's flipping
Dude,
ass about that.
Hashem kills children. Do you understand? There's children. There's people who don't get to experience anything in life. They never get a chance to kiss a girl. You're not going to figure that out. You know what I mean? There's no like. There doesn't seem to be any like
Rhyme or reason.
rhyme or reason or any kind of like standards for what Oh, that's a tragedy. Do you see what I'm saying? Like people say
Yeah.
it's a tragedy because it is a tragedy,
Yeah.
but it doesn't seem like there's any mercy on anybody.
Yeah.
You know. So.
At least from our vantage point. Again, when you consider that neshama is
Right.
going through when the neshama is going through some sort of, journey through vessels and body and whatever, then you maybe can, I don't know, not understand
When
it.
I say there's no rhyme or reason,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is there's no appreciable
Yeah.
rhyme or reason
Yeah.
from my perspective.
Yeah.
I'm only going to speak for myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of, complex, godly things that are happening. But since they're godly and they're complex,
Yeah.
and I'm neither, right?
Yeah.
I don't have access to it. So
Listen, man,
why am I going to care?
can I make a confession to you? When I lost my kid to a stillbirth at 7.5 months pregnancy, no, my ex did. I spoke with this young rabbi, and it's interesting. He told me that, he told me, like, it's a famous idea in Kabbalah. When these kinds of things happen, he said that they say specifically on these kinds of situations, when it's what is it called, a stillbirth or a miscarriage, that this neshama came into the world to do some sort of tikkun for itself, and also maybe for the parents, but more so for itself. And it finished the tikkun, and that's it. And it's interesting, when he said that to me, I wasn't even like fully, I was like learning, but I wasn't like fully Shomer Shabbos or anything like that. But he said that, and I actually I totally, I guess, accepted it. Like it made sense to me. I don't know why it made sense to me, but it made sense to me. Maybe it's because also I didn't want to be with this person, and I knew that if we had a kid, it would have been very, very complicated in terms of raising the kid, in terms of versus how I want to raise a kid and versus how she wants to raise a kid. And not to say that I was very sad about not having this kid, very sad. And my parents also were very, even though they knew that this woman was not for me, they were very sad about not being grandparents at the time. But when he told me that, I actually was like, this makes sense, what you're saying. It makes sense what whatever source is saying this, it makes sense. Like it clicked. I don't know. Am I crazy?
No. You're not crazy. It makes sense on a certain level, and also it matters how close you are with a person. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Like it does matter that you didn't get a chance to meet the baby. It does matter.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, for people who have to, God forbid, deal with losing a baby that they know that they've bonded with, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I doubt that that's going to cut it.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay, depending on who the person is.
Yeah, I never knew. That's the thing. I never knew this child, so it's like I guess it was, quote unquote.
There's a guy. There's that man who, he had lost his whole family in a Brooklyn house fire a couple of years back. I can't even continue what I'm about to say.
It's crazy, yeah.
So you know what I mean?
Did you hear his shiur about it? Like he gave a whole shiur, he gave shiurim about it and like his perspective and.
I can't. I've heard. I just can't.
It's almost like he's lying to himself. I don't know. I just.
No, so I hope that he's not, because after the shiur he's still here with us, right?
Yeah.
Right after the the public speeches, right, and all that stuff. Now he's just by himself.
Yeah.
Okay, so with nobody, to.
Yeah.
I hope that's not the case.
No,
I hope
his
he has
wife.
a
I think. So. I
constant
think his
support
wife.
team.
I think his wife survived, and one of the kids. I think his wife.
One of the kids. But I'm saying, like, I
Yeah.
hope that they have like some kind of special access to things that I've never heard of.
Yeah.
That's all. That's the only way. You know what I mean? I can't think about it otherwise.
You're talking about spiritual.
Yeah, whatever. I just like just give him whatever he needs.
Dude, so now here's the
I don't have to
question.
accept.
My parents have a friend, like Russian Jews, not religious people, and they lost their son. The son is like a little bit younger than me. He was a lawyer. He got into a car accident, and my mother tells me that the woman is, the mother is just beside herself. She's still, she's like in a daze, in a trance, and the father the father had a heart attack because of this, and it's like, what did people do to, you know? And it's almost like Hashem. You could say, "Oh, Hashem is doing this because you want these people to do tshuva." These people didn't do tshuva. They just their lives were wrecked.
No, that doesn't make any
They're a
sense.
fucking wreck, bro.
I don't understand people who say stuff like that.
I know.
Like, here's another thing. Just I've even heard like Rabbi Singer. I love Rabbi Toby Singer. I've heard him say this and other people too. That when there's when tragedies happen, right? Like big tragedies in Israel, it inspires people to do tshuva. Really?
No, it doesn't.
It makes me.
No, it doesn't.
It pushes me the opposite direction.
Yeah. No, it
You
doesn't.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand that at all. Like, what do you mean?
No,
How does that inspire anybody to tshuva? Is it pure fear? Basically,
I guess so.
who is inspired to do tshuva when they see that? A simple, just like a dumb, scared person.
Dal
That's
Bayob.
basically
Pardon my language.
who they're talking about,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You got to be simple, dumb, uncomplicated,
Yeah.
durnoy как пробка,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And just and you respond to fear, right? And that's it. I mean, is that who they're describing? I don't know. Like sometimes it seems that way. Sometimes
Listen. You could
maybe
say.
it's the other way.
do
Maybe
you-
it's the opposite. Maybe the people who are inspired by it are like much more sophisticated than
Yeah.
me. Like they can see
Yeah.
stuff that
Yeah.
I can't, like that I can't appreciate. That's also possible.
Or, well, if you think about when, it's actually a true thing that happened when the three boys were taken, in the Hebron. The country was, I don't know about people make tshuva, but the country was very united. Like secular people and lefties and right-wing people united. Even Shimon Peres said that he hasn't seen the country so united, and he's been there since the Paleozoic era. So maybe that, you could say, like, achdus, unity, when something collectively, happens.
But again,
bad.
like that's why does that? Like, there's no other way to unite people.
I guess not. I don't know.
No.
At least not the Jews.
The answer is there are other ways to unite people.
There are.
That
Can you
don't-
can you think of
that
can you
doesn't
think of
have
them?
to be the most horrifying possible tragedy.
Can you think of them and
imagine.
tell
I'm
me?
sick of this bullshit.
No, I can think of another way. I see it now. There's a musician, for example, in Israel, Yishai Ribo, right? He's a religious guy. I think he's about Tshuva. I don't know if he grew up from, and he has amazing music. And 80% of the people that go to his concerts around Israel are Masorti or even secular. There's actually a few musicians like this, religious guys who play in like literally like these like venues in Tel Aviv where like most of the people are secular lefties. So that's something that's happening in Israel. That's wonderful. So there are other ways, obviously, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know what other ways there are to unite people besides maybe like music, entertainment. I don't know.
There's other ways. Okay. Do you ever hear about what happened at this place called Fatima in Portugal in 1917? There were 5 mass sightings of a spiritual event that took place, right?
No.
Where they interpreted it as the Virgin Mary.
Okay.
But no one saw the Virgin Mary except for the 3 children who claimed to speak to. They saw a lady, a beautiful lady inside of a white, bright light standing in the center of it. Okay, so the first event occurred. Um, it was just the three kids.
Yeah.
Then then that lady that they spoke to in the bright light told them to come back in a month. This time they came back with 50 people.
Mm-hmm.
Then it happened again in a month later. This time it was 4,500 people.
Yeah.
Then it happened again a month later. It was 18,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
Then it happened again a month later. It was 30,000 people. And then finally, in the final, it was like October 1917. There were 75,000 people there to witness this, and they basically saw UFO stuff.
Yeah.
They saw it was an orb that was flying through the air, and it had all these effects on everybody.
Yeah.
People were terrified and scared, and they interpreted it was a religious event, but that's something like that can unify people too.
Yeah.
It had that effect, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't need to kill children to do this.
Yeah.
All right. So
That's true.
anyway, I'm just saying there's plenty of options.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And just to step away from the examples that we've been using about the people who suffered horrible tragedies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just want to step away for a second. But on one level, like all of these reasons that were given, right?
Mm-hmm.
For these tikkunim, right? These rectifications that are happening from the suffering and all the death and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not, and again, we're told it's very high, it's very lofty, it's beyond our ability to understand, right? And your neshama understands. So you know what it feels like? It's almost like a dinner for schmucks scenario.
Yeah.
Right? It's not exactly the same, right? It's like your neshama my neshama is using me. God and my neshama are using me for some purpose that I can't appreciate.
Yeah.
I have to go along with it like a schmuck.
Yeah.
But apparently it's not a schmucky thing to do. It's good for me somehow to go along with it. Okay, great. You know what I mean? Like, but you want me to be happy about it?
Yeah. It is.
Full of joy?
Yeah.
Hell?
I didn't see that movie in its entirety. I saw clips of it, but I know.
You get the point. You know what it is, right?
Yeah.
Rich people, they get schmucks to bring to dinner, right? The schmucks don't understand why they're being brought. The schmucks think that the people like them, but really they're having a competition as who can bring a bigger schmuck to dinner.
Yeah.
It's very cruel. It's a horrible idea.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like that's the shadchan, not even the shadchan that it's like the people trying to set me up. It's like they're looking for a schmuck to have me go to a dinner with a woman, and I'm the schmuck. You know what I mean? It's just it's astounding.
You could easily just solve this issue instantaneously.
How?
If somebody comes up to you and says, "I have a girl. Is she 28 or lower?" No. Goodbye.
No, this guy...
No, but hold on. Don't argue with me for a second.
This guy told me she was 23. That's too young, man. It's like a baby. To me, that's a baby.
No, you should... Okay, so...
It's a baby, dude. It's a baby. Mama should be 23. It's a baby.
You got a lot of... Listen, a 23-year-old woman is an adult woman.
No, she's not. Not the one, not these in this generation. Trust me, they're not. They're little babies. They're little, woke little babies. And if they're not woke, they're offended at half the stuff you say. Trust me.
Dude.
You haven't met them. Even the frum ones. Oh my God, that's so inappropriate.
I haven't met them?
That's so inappropriate.
Greg,
everything's inappropriate. My entire existence.
I haven't met them. What are you talking about?
No, my entire existence is inappropriate to them. Everything I say is inappropriate. Dude, I was listening to Johnny Depp, and they brought out some old text that he wrote to Amber Heard 10 years ago, where he repeated something that she said about herself, that she's like a lesbian camp counselor, and her lawyer goes, Mr. Depp, do you think that's appropriate to say? It's not an appropriate thing to say today. No, blin. I can't live through life with a woman who thinks I'm inappropriate.
Bro, listen. you got all the guys in all of history, right, are looking at you right now and just shaking their head like this guy.
No, they're
You know what
looking
I
at
mean?
society and shaking their heads because they want
No, no, that they're doing that too. But at the same time, they're like,
to.
dude, this guy has to get over it. I mean, this is what reality is. We all had to deal with it. Let him deal with it.
Get over what?
Get over being unsatisfied with the pick
Just
that
want no,
you have.
what? Just wanting to be with my wife and
Yeah, just no. You have
be able to say
right,
whatever I want without being chastised for it, or what?
right. That's right. Nobody gets that.
Dude, that's total BS. I'm sorry. They do
dude.
get that.
Everything is total BS. I thought we covered that. And I was like, where do you
Anyway,
live?
anyway, I'm happy. I'll. By the way, speaking of
What are you
20,
from? What are you from? Atilus? What are you talking
yes,
about?
yes. Speaking of 28, actually, I'd be fine even with a girl like 32, 33, 33 and under. Let's put it that way. 30.
Fine, say something like that. Is she 32 and younger?
Yeah. No,
Don't
you
say
know what I
30.
say?
Say 32.
I created the system, mathematical speaking. Half, we know the half plus seven. So in my case, it would be like 27, 28. Starting, no, the lowest would be 27. The oldest should be 34. Then it's like half plus seven plus seven. So it's a 27 to 34. So if you're younger than 34, let's see. Anything older than that, it's
Dude,
already.
stop it. Just 32, man.
Yeah.
Give you give give yourself some
The
time.
thing is, the Rebbe used to say it shouldn't be more. The difference shouldn't be more than not be more than 10. That's what the Rebbe used to say.
Okay, so if he said that, first of all, would he say that in your case? Not necessarily.
Probably not. Yeah, who knows?
Okay, but even 10, fine, keep it to 10. So 31.
Yeah. No, that's what I tell people. Yeah. No, because these people are bringing me girls who are like 41, divorced with 3 kids, and I'm like, what are you smoking? I tell these people, like, what are you smoking, and can I have some? I,
I, I told you, people they don't. There's not a lot of look. There's not a lot of smart people out there,
are we
and
a,
also,
are we a stupid nation?
yes, of course we're stupid.
God. So how do we
This
have
is this generation is like especially stupid. You understand?
this generation? These are people in their 60s. They're not. I mean,
What I mean is the people who are alive right now with us at the same time.
that's a lot of
Okay,
dumb MFers.
yeah. Okay.
God. Oh Lord, help us now.
So I want to just kind of
Yeah.
kind of like bring us around
Yeah.
to something,
Yeah.
which of course I'm actually devastated. I was sitting there like a schmuck at the Mashiach Suda,
Uh-huh.
waiting for Mashiach to come,
Uh-huh.
and once again, God didn't allow it to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm not grateful for that. I'm not.
Can I make a confession?
No, because I'm still talking.
Okay. But this is
So,
relevant to what you're saying.
all right, go ahead.
I had a nanosecond, literally a nanosecond, less than a nanosecond, of sentiment sitting at davening this morning that no one's coming. Am I not a Jew anymore?
No, what are you talking about? My heart. If there was a graph that could chart my mental landscape with the heart,
Uh-huh.
it looks like a sine wave.
Which
I'm always up and down, back and forth, but I'm always struggling to hold on to the idea that no, it's going to happen. It has to happen. It can happen, and and it's actually going to happen. So, and then I lose my shit, right? My
Yeah.
heart falls down,
Yeah.
and then I have to pick myself up again. That's constant with me.
Dude,
So you're better than me.
do you know what happens with me? But by me, it's more like, again, and this is probably more of a machloket, philosophically speaking. By me, it's more like, I'm fine with just, I see the processes that are happening Meaning, I know the Nevuah prophecy is real. I know a lot of prophecies already came true. They did. And I know more will come true. But for me, it's more of a thing of like, again, for me, Mashiach is in the process and is in the political machinations and whatever I see in front of me, not necessarily some kind of instantaneous Santa Claus situation. You know what I mean? It's
I don't know
just
why you have to say that.
it's just a process
No, but
and
I don't know why. First of all, what you're saying is an instantaneous Santa Claus situation, right? Is that's part of what was that's part of it. That I didn't we didn't come up with that.
I
I didn't come up
understand
with
what
it.
you're saying, but I haven't I only say that I have a problem, not I have a problem with it, but I only say that it's easier for me to see. Meaning, dude, you know that there are people that don't even see the hand of Hashem in geopolitics. Like I was talking, a lot of Russians, they're like, oh, what's going to be with this? What's going to be with that? If Putin does this and but that. And I tell them, do you understand that this is not the end game? You understand that Hashem is using all these people, Putin, Zelensky, all these people, Ishmael, this, Edom, as pawns. Well, you could see it if you look at stuff from a Torah perspective, from a Geulah perspective. You could see it, right? The only thing I don't see is a guy arriving and putting a stop to all of this instantaneous. I could see just by way of Hashem using political, machinations to destroy all these people
So why
one
can't you
by one.
see somebody coming and putting a stop
Because the
to it?
first one is
Why?
Derech HaTeva, the second one is really freaking like magic. It sounds like magic to me. And so far I haven't actually seen short of those tic tacs,
Right,
which is like
because you don't believe God can do it.
it's not that I don't believe God can do it. It's just that it's magic, man. It defies.
That's what it means. No,
I've never
that's what it
seen.
means.
I personally, with the exception of being told of a story, something called Yetzias Mitzrayim and Kriyas Yamsuf, which was a suspension of natural law, where I was not present there. I personally, I don't know about you, man. I've never seen, like, I don't know, with the exception of maybe like romanticizing how Michael Jordan dunks, I've never seen gravity suspended. Let's put it that way. I've never seen the natural law suspended. I've never seen it in my life. I don't know if you have. I haven't.
Well,
Have you?
just on a side note, if you saw the gimbal or the Tic Tac video, you have seen it. Maybe you didn't realize it, but that's another. We
Yeah,
can
but
put that to the side.
that's okay. You could say these things are from another dimension. Fine. But again, they haven't done anything yet. And if they're gonna do something, they are doing it very, like you said, everything is happening very slowly. It's too
Right.
slow.
So what? Right. Exactly.
Быстрее,
So what
блин.
I'm saying. Right. So basically, exactly. So what I'm saying is that people have difficulty imagining things happening outside of what they normally experience. So
Correct.
far,
Correct.
we can see God moving in geopolitics. Okay, I think there are people who could see that and they're used to that, and because of that, they think that's the only way that things are going to be able to progress for two reasons. There's two different reasons why people think that. Okay, one side thinks that they don't really believe that God can do it any other way. That's number one. Number two, the other group believes they know God can do it. They're worried that He won't do it. That's where I am.
Yeah.
Because I know that God can do anything. Like think about it for a second. He's literally creating everything in the entire existence every second out of nothing. He can do whatever he wants. You understand?
Yeah.
He can turn us pink instantaneously.
Yeah.
He can make green hair come out of our ears, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Okay? Anytime, any moment, he can do that. It's ridiculous to think that the creator who's creating us every moment out of nothing, is encumbered in some way. Okay? My fear is that he really likes this way. That's my fear. There's nothing I can do about it.
So here's my question. Why do you think he would like this way?
I don't even want to go down that road because first of all, everything he does is incomprehensible, which makes me less connected to it.
Do you know what I always think about?
Meaning care, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to.
I get it. I always think about like when an atheist asks a question or atheist brings up the lashon. I guess it's again, it's obviously a English translation of the terms angry and jealous God, you know? So who the hell, and they always ask that question, who the hell, why would you want to have a relationships with someone who's angry and jealous and who asks you not to have any other gods before them? And meaning, obviously you shouldn't have any other gods before them, but why would this entity need to even, why would you need to have even a scenario where this entity even brings that up? Meaning it's almost like somebody coming up to you. Imagine like you're I don't know, dating somebody and they have to tell you, you shall have no other women besides me. What are you, insecure? You know what I'm saying? Is God insecure?
No,
Was he a little
I
bitch?
no that
You know what I mean?
no. I think what God is saying is that He's saying it matters to me uh, what you think and what relationships you are forming. I I'm giving you free will, but I am also letting you know that I created this whole universe to have a relationship with you. So I'm putting myself out there, letting you know why I created this. Okay, there are there are seeming options that I'm uh, allowing to exist, but it matters to me which decision you make. That's what he's
So
saying.
what is this anger and jealousy business?
No, that's what no. The jealousy when he says I'm a jealous God. That's what he's saying. It matters to me the decision that you make, even though I create the possibility of making decisions aside from me. I
Okay.
want you to make. I want you to decide to have a relationship with me rather than all those false things that I create. I proved to you. I showed to you that they're false. Okay. I explained to you that they exist only to create free will, and so you have this choice. But I there are things that make me happy and unhappy. I will be unhappy if you choose to have a relationship with this thing rather than have a relationship with me. That's so he's just communicating his feelings. That's all.
You know, man, my grandmother, what you're describing sounds to me like I don't want to use the word toxic relationship. You know, my grandmother can't stand it when my mother is talking to someone on the phone in front of her. Why? Because you have to get off the phone and you have to talk to me and only me. It's childish.
Can I ask you a question though?
Yeah.
Does your grandmother create your mother every second out of nothing?
Well, she gave birth to her.
No, but
No,
okay,
she doesn't do that. No.
right, okay. So, so I'm going to stick up for God here. I do that every now and then. Okay. Uh, if you think about it, he's keeping this whole thing going, existence, right? Whatever, however you feel about it, right? And he uh, he wants a relationship, or he wants a willing relationship, right? Um, and he doesn't, he's willing to share you, okay, with your parents and your wife and your kids, but not with another God. There is no other God. It's an illusion, right? So
Yeah.
it's sort of like he's saying, you don't understand what you're doing. You're talking to me, pretending to be something else, right?
Yeah.
He goes,
Yeah.
don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that thing doesn't even exist. It exists because I'm allowing it. I'm pretending. It's like it's like I put on a mask and I so to speak, and I speak with a different voice, so to speak. Doesn't sound like me, right? It's pretend. Here I am for real. right? That other stuff that doesn't even really exist. So if you go and you still insist on talking to, a sock, like don't talk to a sock, right? Yes, I'm creating the sock, I'm letting it exist, but I'm telling you that's not real. And you
It,
still insist on talking to the
it
sock. That's
reminds me of
stupid,
that.
right?
Did you ever see that commercial with Christopher Walken, the Super Bowl commercial?
Sock puppet.
Yeah, where he's like
That's
showing
what I
him.
meant to say. That's what I
Yeah,
meant to sock puppet.
when he's showing him all the beige socks and everything beige, and it's a car commercial. He's like, it's just funny. You gotta see this commercial. He's like, "Don't be boring, don't be bland."
I never saw it.
It's a beautiful commercial, brilliant commercial. I would play. You know what? Actually, let me. Whatever. You should keep talking about. I'll fire it up at some point.
No, so that makes sense to me. From God's angle. Like he created this. So actually, it's funny. I wanted to touch on that. So the reason I'm mad at God is that I'm telling him, I was like, yeah, I get it. I know everything sucks until you come into the world, until you reveal your presence and show us what all this is all about. I understand that nobody knows what they're doing here without you. We don't know how to use the equipment that you gave us here in this world, right? We don't know what our bodies are. We don't know how to use. Remember that metaphor I gave you about the club, right? Like God, He opened a new club, right? And He was building it. It was like a mega club. Like it makes like Twilo and Tunnel and all that look like nothing. You know what I mean? Like this is like the greatest club ever.
Yeah.
Okay, and then He's like, guys, I want you to come and hang out at this club with me that I just built. It's amazing. I want you to enjoy all the stuff. There's 7 bars.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's a bunch of there's these like I remember going to clubs and there were girls dancing in cages, not naked, just like in cages, whatever, right? Then there's bubbles flying everywhere. There's a cool light up dance floor, right? There's like all these effects and all these kind of interesting, fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so, but there's a bunch of stuff also, and really even the stuff I just described to you, there's a lot of interesting things that you guys haven't experienced yet. So come and hang out at the club with me and, let me show you how it all works. So we show up at the club and we don't know how anything works. And then we ask God to go step outside. And for some reason, God gives us the option to do that. I don't know why. Okay. Forget about that part of the metaphor. It's not a perfect metaphor. Okay. For some reason, God gave us the ability to tell him to go outside. Right. So we show up to the club. He's like, oh God, I can't wait to show you guys. And we're like, God, would you mind going to step outside? He goes, what? But I want to hang out with you here. Like I built this so that we could all hang out. Yeah, I know, but it's not us, it's you, or it's not you, it's us, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So go step outside. He's like, wait a minute, can I at least show you how to use the stuff here? No, we'll figure it out. But nope, sorry, God, go stand outside. Okay. God goes to stand outside. I don't know why he agrees to that, okay? But he goes to stand outside. And so we start playing with the club, the stuff in the club, right? And instead of, there's cables, right, that are hooked up to machinery, right? Like sound, like giant, like phase-on sound systems, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, light shows and, giant speakers and stuff like that. What happens, instead of using it to make sounds, the women somehow they start playing with the cords and with the wires, and then they see, oh look, it's made of like copper. Ooh, pretty shiny. They start making like earrings and necklaces out of it.
Yeah.
And then the guys, they go and they like, oh, look at these turntables here, right? And the turntables are spinning. They're like, oh, look, it's pretty. It's spinning, right? They don't know you're supposed to put a record there and put the needle down, right? They find the records. They start playing frisbee with the records, right? Idiots.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody knows what the hell they're doing in the club. Okay? And then so obviously we need God to come and show us how everything works and how to really enjoy all the stuff. And let's see what you had in mind, God. Okay? We get it. I get it. Well, I don't know how we get it, but I definitely get it. I know a lot of people who get it. Please come and do it already. I get it. Okay, I like nothing is going to be good until you come and and show us. We know that this world doesn't work without you. We know. I say we, I mean me, but I know that it's not just me. There has to be a bunch of people out there who also really understand and feel that. Okay,
Yeah.
so so I'm sitting here like an idiot just all day saying, God, I know, like, everything is shitty until you show up and show us how it's done and hang out with us. I get it. Like, could you just do it already? Like, I've been waiting for a long time. I'm serious, right? You got a bunch of people who are serious, right?
Yeah.
So just show up already, and you won't show up.
Yeah.
I want to be, and right away, my instinct is to get mad at everybody else. Be like, don't, like, see people, be like, you idiots, don't you understand? Like, everything you're doing is stupid.
Yeah.
None of you know how to live life. None of you.
Yeah.
None of you know what you're doing. You're all wasting time. Your jobs are stupid. Everything you like is stupid. You don't know how to use anything in this world.
Yeah.
And you're going to die soon. It's tragic.
Yeah.
It's boring, and it's tragic. Without God, you guys are nothing.
Yeah.
You don't know anything. You can't enjoy anything. So can you start wanting him to show up already? Like, but at the same time, you're like, these poor people, did they put themselves in a situation? Like, it's something that our ancestors did 6,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay? And, then there's that argument, yeah, but it's not, we can't say that Adam is somebody else. We're all part of him. Okay, fine. You know what I mean? But, like, how come I don't remember being awesome Adam with all that brilliance? And I don't remember that. Do you?
Yeah.
I have no memory of being an infinite being who can see from one end of the universe to the other. I can't even see from where I'm sitting to the kitchen.
Yeah.
So I gotta suffer for what I did when I was like this awesome mega being or something
Yeah.
like that. Like, give me a break already.
Dude, you know what I keep thinking about?
6,000 years.
I keep thinking about how is it that there are people in this world who it seems like they more or less figured out what the hell to do with themselves, I guess. And then they are not, again, I'm not saying this to put myself on the pedestal, I'm just saying this objectively. People who are, let's say, not as intelligent, let's say, as me or you, who are seemingly figure out what the hell to do in this world with themselves. And then there are people like you and I, and other people I know, who have no idea what the hell they're here for, who are lost as hell, who will continue to be insanely lost, I don't know, for this foreseeable future. Yeah, like, I guess I have skills. You claim you don't have marketable skills, but I think that's BS. You do.
Okay, so please tell me what it is so I can go get a job.
I don't know, man. You're seemingly good with people because clearly your brother trusts you enough to, like, field phone calls and deal with people. And
My brother trusts me that I'm gonna make sure that people get their medicine so they don't die.
listen, but
But
that's really, really, really important, man.
no,
Because
I'm trustworthy.
there's
I don't
people,
want people to die.
not only that, but
But
there's people don't even have that skill to, like, I don't know, call a pharmacy or deal with somebody administrative, whatever it is, to even get that done. You
no,
apparently have that skill.
that's not a skill. That's just called giving a shit and having some
Listen,
perseverance. That's all it is.
but people don't even have that. There's a lot of people who don't even have that.
Okay, so fine.
But
So
listen,
my marketable skill is perseverance and giving a shit.
apart,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah, but that's a skill. Apart from no, but even knowing what to do in certain situations, even apart, just let's even consider that there's just people who are like, dude, I'm jealous of people who, for example, like I look at them, some of these people like my age, even people who are younger, and they look like they are like put together adults. And I'm thinking to myself, and I think to myself, I sometimes just think to myself straight up, like, these people are better than me. Like I suck at life and they're better than me at life for some reason or one reason or another. Either Hashem gave that to them that ability, or maybe it's something their parents taught them. Maybe I'm like stunted. I don't know. Like really, seriously. And then there's other people I look at, and then there's other situations I have where it's like, or moments where I think, no, I'm okay. And there are other, and I see other people who are even more inept than I am. And I think, okay, at least I have a handle on some things in life, you know? But it's just kind of like, I wonder, like, how is anyone supposed to get through this life? And I'm thinking to myself, like, I look at people of, the generation of, like, let's say my parents and your parents. How the hell did they figure anything out? Like my father, literally, when I used to ask him for help with something, he literally would say to me, "Nobody helped me. I figured it out. How did I figure it out? I'm not a genius." And I think to myself, there's validity to what he says because it's like all the generations prior to us figured it out. They did. They really did. They were thrown in the fire.
You
It
know what
was
that means?
trial
You know what that
trial by
means?
fire, and they figured out we're the only retards who can't figure the freaking shit out. Some of us,
No, no,
not all of us.
no. So listen. Here's what it means. They figured it out. That means that God came along and just set them up.
No, he
That's
did it. What do you mean he set
always
them
what
up?
it
They lived through
means.
war. What do you mean he set them up?
Wait, what are you talking about? We're talking about your dad for a second.
My dad, my grandfather, dude, these people lived through crap, through hell. They lost their jobs, they lost their lives, they lost their wives, they lost their kids. Какой set up? Set up what?
Dude,
Hell?
relax, dude. We're talking. Okay, first of all, you're dealing with a broad brush. Let's talk about your dad, for instance.
Okay.
Forget about the war generation. You can't
Okay.
say nothing about them.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, your dad. He when people say they figured out, that just means that God showed them eventually what they can do, what they should be doing, and they just ended up. They kind of got a little push in that direction. That's what it means.
Okay.
Yeah.
My father didn't get any push in any direction. He was just, I don't know, like he I guess liked something, and then he actually ended up not doing that in the Soviet Union for a while because he was a refusenik and he was fired, so he had to go work random odd jobs. That's what he did to just feed his family. And then when he came to America, he got super duper extra prima lucky in terms of putting out his resume and then, Baruch Hashem being hired, right? And then he just kind of
That's what I'm
progressed.
talking about.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is even then he had to figure out in terms of how to navigate, for example, it wasn't set up for him. He had to navigate in terms, especially a person who didn't have the grasp of like English language, how to navigate the corporate world, how to navigate, this is before the internet. So you're talking about how do you get like, I don't know, car insurance? How do you figure out how to do a mortgage? Deal with real estate agents. How do you figure? There was all these things to figure out. There was things, and there was no way he could have known how to do any of these things. Why? Because he's from the Soviet Union. These things don't exist over there. Oh, they didn't exist.
All right,
Mortgages and
let me
this.
give you an example of what I'm talking about. We're
My,
not talking
my
about the same
father
thing.
was in the desert. He was like just grasping at straws. You understand?
Listen, if you've never been to a supermarket and you show up at a supermarket, right? So you know that you're hungry, right? You got hungry. You realize you need food. You go to a store that says food, big sign, food. You go inside. You got to figure out how to be in the supermarket and how to bag your stuff, how to pay for it, whatever. You got to figure out where all the stuff is, who to ask. Fine. You know what I mean? That's that's normal. That's understandable. People have to go through that. Okay, but what I mean by setup is that God makes you hungry and then puts a store that says food in front of you. You understand? Like
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about. Like, fine, you got to figure out how to operate in that environment, of course.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just kind of like dude, I've only maybe the last. It's funny. Like only maybe the last 5 or 4 years I've figured out. maybe even more, but like definitely the last 5 4 years, I figured out how any of this mechanics works in this world. Before that, I was just kind of like completely clueless. Now I'm half clueless. Before that, I was completely clueless.
Mechanics mean spiritual.
No, the mechanics of just the world, how to operate in this world, like in the physical world of literally how to, I don't know, deal in business or deal in everyday like dude, I don't know. It's just kind of like I don't know. I really don't know what to say. And, you know, like
I've learned some stuff too. You know what I noticed? There's the just doers. Those people are. I could never understand them until, I don't know, maybe the last 10, 15 years. When I looked at people in some profession, I thought that, you got to be knowledgeable, have all this background and networking. I didn't realize how many people just go in there blank and stupid and just say, I'm going to figure this out.
yeah,
I'm going to wing it
yeah,
the whole way through.
yeah,
Most of the people are like that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that that's what people do. I thought that you had to be serious about it beforehand and then know and understand stuff. I didn't realize that people just kind of like, they're like, no, okay, today I'm going to be whatever.
yeah,
I'm going to be a helicopter pilot.
yeah,
And then you get into the helicopter pilot and they try to fly. That's what happens,
yeah. I
to
don't
use
know.
a hyperbolic
I don't know,
example.
man. It's just I know one person in my life that I met, the guy who works in the airline industry. You know who I'm talking about. He's wanted to do it since he's 12 years old, and he just pushed for it, and he tried to figure out any which way to slip through the cracks of, whatever it is that he wanted to get into, because, he wanted to basically just do it instead of just going to college and this. He went to college, I think, for 2 years. He never finished college, but he figured out a way how to, get into the industry without college, just for by way of his passion for it. And I always was jealous of a person like that, a person who knew exactly to the T what he wanted to do since he's 12 years old, 11 years old.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous of that too.
Yeah.
And especially, like, how does a person, I don't understand how people get passionate about some of these professions.
I also don't. I really don't. I don't know how people get into figure out a niche. You always hear people like, "What do you do for a living?" I do title insurance. How the hell do you even get into that? How do you even like that? How do you even like,
Where
dude,
did you even hear of title insurance?
how
I've
did you
never
even
heard
hear
that in
about
my
it?
life.
Yeah. No, it's like this, a bunch of these frum guys, it's like the thing, there's like these staple professions that like frum guys get into, like working in an
How about,
Amazon
how about currency
basement.
trader?
No, grocery trader is, it's like you hear about
I
it.
never
It's
heard of
it's
that. I
common.
met I met one of our friends from
Yeah,
back.
yeah,
Greg Alpin.
yeah,
That that crew. One of our friends from that crew
yeah,
dealt in currency.
yeah, yeah,
Smoking weed. He was sitting there all day
yeah,
smoking weed,
yeah,
trading currency,
yeah.
doing it and doing fine. I'm
Listen,
like,
man.
what the
Listen, man.
hell
I
is
did. I
currency
traded
trading?
stocks for 10 years, and I did well until I got tired of it. Not 10, like a little bit more than that. I got tired of it at some point. It was one of those things. Again, anything I've ever done in my life, with the exception maybe of writing, and even then, I fell into whatever I was doing with that. I always fell into it. It was just something that like I took to, somehow like somebody had an opportunity. Like what do I do now? I fell into it. I totally fell into it. But even then, it's like, you know, I don't know, man. Even within it, it's so many moving parts, and I think about it, and I'm just kind of like, just the thought of like continuing to do it. I've wanted to quit so many freaking times. Just the thought of wanting to continue to do it. I'm thinking like, or like my friend, he works in, the kiosks. He owns He's an owner of kiosks, Israeli guy in Los Angeles, and he told me the
Yeah,
other day, he's like, he's gotten to a point where like some of the, one of his locations, the juice is not worth the squeeze. So now he's to think, does he want to close it down? What do it's just literally some of these things where it's like the juice is not worth the damn squeeze, especially when it's your own business. Dealing with administrative, like you're working in the liquor business, dealing with like some warehouse, dealing with some distributor, dealing with some kind of government office, dealing with this. People have their own, and everybody has their own ways of, there's like the law, and then there's like different companies that like do things. Some do the letter of the law, some do kind of like gray area, and there's like these different nuances. You have to literally figure out who does what and what way they do it, and like figure out how to like just navigate through that labyrinth. And it's just, why? Why? You know? It's just like,
Listen,
Zачем?
you know what it is? We touched upon it earlier. We talked about Shibud Malchut,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's the same thing.
Okay, so there are people who
And most people have
feel
no
like
problem with
nothing.
that. Yeah,
No, but that's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah,
That's interesting. There are people, they're in the shamas, right, who don't feel like really anything's missing in their life.
yeah. No, they're like, well, that's
You
the
know?
world, and grow up. That's what literally, if I come to them and say what I just told you, everything, this whole diatribe, they'll say, Tzvi, you're like infantile and grow up.
Yeah, those people are empty-headed fools. Because listen, hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Yeah,
I know people who don't have much conflict in their life.
yeah.
They don't have much. They're not very.
You mean
They're not
internally?
terribly. I'm sorry.
You mean internally, not like a conflict with other
They're
people.
not They don't have internal issues
Yeah,
in terms of, oh, I don't like the world and
yeah,
it bothers me what's going on and things
yeah,
don't make sense.
yeah,
They don't think very much about what's going on outside of their life.
yeah,
Okay, they just want to, have a job, be comfortable,
yeah,
have a couple of kids, go on vacation a
yeah,
bunch of times. They want to ignore reality as much as possible until death is literally staring in the face, and then everything falls apart.
yeah,
But until then, why do I have to think about it?
yeah.
Okay, so that's how people operate. And you know what's funny? The people who are able to distract themselves the most successfully are considered the biggest successes.
I know.
You understand? The people who successfully think least about others in need, about their environment, about the world around them, about affecting the world around them, right,
Yeah,
are the biggest successes. Like, think about
yeah.
secular
I've had friends tell
Russians
me
in
during this
general.
whole time, Tzvi, what could you do to just focus on your own life, focus on getting married and this and that and the other. What can you do to this? With the whole Schmeiser and all this stuff. What can you do? And I said, how can I not do? How can I live my life? Like I tried to explain to these guys, like you always tell me, at this point I just want to find a woman who hasn't ruined her freaking ovaries,
Yeah.
mangled them with mRNA, shmRNA. No offense to anybody listening, or maybe offense. I hope you take offense or do something about it. Detox. But like,
If you were a person who was coerced into doing it, you were concerned, but you had a moment of weakness and you decided to go do it because you were pressured, but you're not a big fat, like, big mouth trying to make fun of people who are saying perhaps don't do it, right? If you're not one of those people, then I feel horrible for you and
yeah,
I don't want you to be offended.
yeah,
If you're a big mouth
yeah,
who was trust the science and told everybody else to go do it, fucking die.
yeah.
I don't really mean that, but I kind of do, but I don't. I don't know.
Even then, I would tell these people. Like today, I told a person. She asked me about detox. I said NAC, N-acetylcysteine. What else am I gonna say?
NAC with a zinc ionophore and
Yeah,
zinc
yeah,
and vitamin D and vitamin C.
yeah,
That combination can mitigate the situation.
yeah. Not completely eliminate,
Okay.
but at least,
No, not eliminate, but mitigate. It's
yeah,
a bridge to a bridge.
yeah,
I learned that from Ray Kurzweil. That
yeah,
term, a bridge to a bridge. He's trying to figure out how to live forever.
yeah,
So he says that the technology that we have now can be a bridge to a bridge to a bridge
yeah,
until that problem is solved.
yeah.
Too bad he went crazy.
So yeah, man. I don't know. I just look at people and I'm like, but on the other hand, it's like, to what you said about, people not accepting reality, I tell my mother all the time that the reason that you're upset about, my father's situation, that he had a stroke a few years ago, and he's not the same guy, I actually tell her, you're upset because, or you have these reactions because you haven't accepted reality. You haven't accepted you haven't accepted the fact that he is the way he is now, as opposed to the way he was. And if you would just accept reality, you actually would be able to operate in the new reality as it is, with him being the way he is, and stop demanding of him things that he's not able to give physically, literally.
Can I adjust what you
Does that,
said just a
yeah,
tiny bit?
yeah.
Okay. it's it's not that your mom couldn't accept the reality of how he is. It's that your
Mm-hmm.
mom, and not just your mom, my mom, everybody's mom, unfortunately, right? And everybody's dad. Um, they didn't. They the expectations that they had in the first place were not in touch with reality,
Yeah, of course.
right? The fact that she thought that, or anybody thinks that people are going to not begin to deteriorate is already a big mistake.
I hear what you're saying, but there's men his age who are not, they're not like, they can still do stuff. They can still, you know what I mean? Like they're not like
Right, but that's
piles
like
of log. You know what I mean?
no, but that's incidental. I don't know if I'm using the right word. Meaning like
It's
that
incidental, but it's more often than not. You know what I mean?
no, okay. No, that's not true. So what I'm looking, you know what it's like? If you ever see, you know, there's a place in New York City called the Bowery, right?
Yes,
Which is
yes,
famous,
yes,
used to be famous as a homeless
yes,
place where the homeless people
yeah,
crack it. Now it's the whole city,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So, or let's just talk about San Francisco and LA in general.
yeah,
Just that's nothing but homeless camps. And, okay?
yeah,
So, what can you expect to see at a homeless camp? You could see this crackhead with 7 teeth, or
yeah,
that crackhead with 2 teeth left. Well, the one
yeah,
with 7 teeth is better shape than the one with the 2 teeth.
yeah,
That's all of our realities. That's this whole world.
yeah,
People don't understand. Like you see a crackhead, right, with 7 teeth,
yeah,
fighting over a half-eaten chocolate bar with a crackhead that has
yeah,
6 teeth,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And you know what that is?
yeah. That's the world.
That's two guys. That's two billionaires
Yeah,
racing their yachts.
yeah,
They don't understand that they're the same as those two crackheads
yeah. No,
fighting over
of
a
course.
half-eaten chocolate bar.
Oh, I could see that. They're about to be
This
the same.
whole world, everything that everybody likes is caca. It's stupid. It's just a distraction
Yeah,
to help you forget that you're scared about dying.
yeah.
Instead of trying to investigate a way to change the reality
Well,
itself,
no,
you
some of
just
these
keep
people.
distracting yourself with horseshit.
No, some of these people are actually trying to delay the process. Meaning, like, for example, what's his name? It may be we may disagree, but Elon Musk, his way of is like let's download consciousness and put it in, Neuralink
No,
and
but
have it
that's
be
but
eternal and this and that.
it's
That's just
still the
like
same
one
thing.
method, you know?
No, it's the same thing. He's a crackhead with 7 teeth who wants to hold on to 7 of his teeth for 5 months longer than the crackhead with 6 teeth. I'm not trying to be a chick. That's
I
literally what it
know.
is. I'm not.
I
I'm
know.
not even being. I'm not even being hyperbolic.
I know. It just sounds funny. I get it.
Without God, we're all just crackhead with various stages of missing teeth.
Yeah. What a quotable quote. With that said, can I play to you the here Christopher Walken Super Bowl Oh, see, it remembered. Okay. This is very funny. This is one of the funniest commercials I've ever heard in my life. When I saw it, I cracked up. Here, um, this is from 2000. This is like 4 years ago or something. 2017. Yeah. Here,
Honey, you know where my base socks are?
Check the walk-in closet.
walk-in closet.
Richard, If you're looking for these,
It's a
there
sock.
are
Sock.
two types of people in the world.
Sock.
Those who are content to blend in. These people walk through life like beige socks, uninspired and bored. And there are those who expect more.
It's like a colored sock.
Exciting.
Colored sock.
They have pizzazz.
Says.
Eventually, the beige sock people get lost or devoured by the ones who stand out. Do you want to be devoured, Richard? No.
She shows him a card.
What is that? It's the new Kia Optima. It's like the world's most exciting pair of socks, but it's a mid-size sedan. Please, try it on for size. Whoa. What was right?
Hold on. One second.
Punch it, Richard. Come on, punch it.
You gotta see it. He's like talking to him with the sock puppets. Or,
Yeah, man.
what can I tell you?
You know, don't talk to sock puppets. Talk to God.
Yeah.
That's what he got upset about. You know, like don't. First of all, he said, don't put any things over me. I'm the Lord your God. Don't put any faces on my face. Don't cover my face. That's what he says in the command, right? So don't make me into something that I'm not. And also, don't talk to a bunch of sock puppets as if and form a relationship with them. That's just me. That's a sock puppet on one of my fingers.
Yeah.
Like, don't talk to my finger.
Yeah.
Talk to, with a sock puppet on it. Like, so, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, you can talk to, I'm giving you a chance now to have a relationship with the big boss. And the big boss is saying that I want to have a relationship with you. So, so see, God, I'm defending you on that. That makes sense. So just could you just show up already? And, let's do this. You know what I mean?
You ever get the feeling that we're how should I put this? We are if some of the most learned people, Torah learned people were hear our conversations, they would say that we are being it's not that we're being infantile, that we are
I don't give a damn.
we need to learn something, and that there's something that needs to happen before Hashem comes. Let's put it that way, or before Mashiach
Yeah.
comes.
You know what
Does that
I'd
make
say
sense?
to them? I'd say to them that
F you.
with people like you,
Yeah.
we would be here in 10,000 years in the same exact situation because you're okay with anything that he does.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And on some level, I feel like God is saying, yeah, really? You don't care what I do? Oh, what if I don't show up? Oh, whatever you want, God. Oh, really? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
on some level, it's like that. It's like coming to America.
Yeah.
Remember when he meets his bride?
Yeah.
He goes, what kind of songs do you like? Whatever kind you like.
Whatever it is that you like.
Right?
Hmm.
What kind of food do you like? Whatever it is that you like to eat.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's- I don't know if that's true. It just sometimes, I like to think that that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these saintly people, they're not gonna say, God, it also matters what I like.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to have a relationship with me? Okay, so here I am.
Well, they think
You know,
it's
like,
like they've
at the
been
same time,
taught
they
they've been
say
taught
God
that it's
wants to have a
self.
relationship with you, but he wants you to become totally nullified and disappear.
That's what
What?
they've been taught, that it's selfish. They taught that you need to be bittul yourself to Hashem, and that's what they've been taught. That's the game.
But at the same time, isn't
You know?
bittul mean give God what he wants? He wants a relationship with another.
How the hell do I know what he wants?
Zulato, right? Another.
Yeah. Who the hell knows?
Right? So give him something to have a relationship with. Like, have preferences.
Yeah.
My preference, God, is that you show up and you show God, I understand nothing's gonna work without you. Yeah. I understand that. I'm very curious to see what you had in mind. You want to have a relationship? That's to me that's the only way to proceed. So let's just do it. My only preference is that you show up and don't kill my loved ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, right now, not in the future. And I'm gonna be upset and disappointed, because it's almost like if you're not upset at God for standing you up, then it's like you're not waiting for Him.
Yeah.
Like this is supposed to be a real relationship, right? And then whenever like you say stuff like that, there's gonna be a bunch of words
Yeah.
that come out. It's just a bunch of
That's
meaningless
the sentence that
nothingness.
starts with, "Well, you see." No, I don't see.
I don't see. I don't want to see. I don't care to see.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear nothing. I just want to see it happen already.
It's like a friend of mine said, yeah, when I told him something like, the stuff that we're talking about, he mentioned, yeah, I have a friend, ever since he lost his mother, he's been like really, just like, not been able to accept the fragility of life. I'm like, dude, you're just saying shit just to say it. Can you address what I'm saying instead of comparing me to your friend, which is fucking irrelevant? Do you know? Like the guy just like, see, here you go, here you go. I just got a message. From what is it called? From this guy with a picture of his cousin. In reality, she's pretty attractive in this picture, but he's writing. In reality, she's even prettier.
Okay, great.
But what am I supposed to do? She's 35 and off the derech. What am I supposed to do? What? Be her personal Jesus? Personal Jesus. Doom, 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 doom.
You want to hear something?
Am I Depeche Mode?
You want to hear something crazy?
Someone who really cares.
I heard Johnny Cash sing that song.
Doom, 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 doom.
All right.
Yeah.
And right, I was like, holy crap! Did Depeche Mode rip off Johnny Cash? Nope.
Yeah.
The other way around. I lived to a time when Johnny Cash was doing a cover for a Depeche Mode song.
Yeah.
All right. That's a good song, though. That's a good song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good song. I don't know, man. Yeah, no, dude,
Yeah.
listen, you can't do that. Okay? You're a religious guy. Meaning like you know what needs
You know
to
what
be
he
done.
wrote to me? I will
You gotta
mention
be
that you
there.
want an Orthodox home. I said, hi, not home, woman. I will make a home with a woman who cares about these things. And he goes, yes, yes, smiley face. It's not
I don't
registered.
know. I mean,
This is a
like,
smart person. Dude, this guy works.
So this whole off the Derek thing, like, did you ever talk to her? Like,
He's like, she's
how
not
do you know
religious
she's up to-
anymore. She grew up religious, she's not religious anymore.
Okay, I know you keep saying that, but I'm saying, how do you know that?
Because he knows her. He said she's anything I'm supposed to say about you as well. I don't know what that means. What? He's Israeli, so he's kind of like translating direct. What, dude?
I think that he's, some of these people are like, yeah, you're religious, but between you and me, like,
Yeah.
some of these people are like that. They're like, no, like they don't understand that. No, there's people who are real.
He doesn't no, like he knows me. He's seen me at Minyan. He's seen me interact. He's seen how I am. I went to his dude. He had this thing for his baby. Like the Hasidim do the night before the bris, a kabbalistic thing. He saw that I was into it, dude. I'm in the words of Eric B and Rakim, I ain't no joke. I may do jokey things. I may be a clown sometimes in that sense. I may not learn every day. I may not daven in the minyan. I may not even daven at all. I may not even put on tefillin every day. But at the end of the day, I ain't no joke. Does that make sense?
Makes sense, but just on a side note,
Yeah.
don't miss the filling.
I know. I'm just saying that it could be. We could say that maybe Hashem is trying to send me a message. Maybe that my inner, there's a disconnect sometimes with my inner and my outer in that respect. Maybe you could say that. Not maybe, yes. You could say that. You can make that argument. But that doesn't give people the right to do this. It doesn't. I don't know where. I don't know. Again, dude, this guy's Israeli. He knows that there are people who dress like me, quote unquote, dress like me, who are really frum. He's not stupid. Dude, the guy's from Lod. You know what Lod? Lod was like the forefront of the battle against the Arabs in the last Intifada thing, last summer. They had like gunfights, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like frum people against with guns against Arabs. Dude, the guy knows I'm like well, I may as well have been one of those guys. So he knows what I'm about. He knows I'm not a you know, pardon my language in Russian we say распиздяй, you know? He knows I'm not.
Well, he's hoping that you'll think his cousin is really hot, and then you won't be thinking.
Listen, Chochmah v'ina das, bro. Yeah, I don't just think with my dick. Sorry to say.
Easy.
Pardon my language.
Richard, take it easy.
I don't think with my Richard.
There you go. That's better.
I used to in my 20s. That's all it was. That's all I was going on. Maybe it was better. Maybe I would have gotten married that way. Should have just stuck to that strategy. I know guys that did that. You know, worked out for them, somewhat, on some level.
Nothing worked out for anybody.
I know.
I don't know if you get that. You
I
got to
know.
understand that by this point.
You know who? No,
Nothing
you know.
worked out for anybody.
The only people I've ever met who anything worked out for them, like really, when you slice it down. These guys who live in hilltop settlements, who are married with kids, and they just like live life, and they have no expectation of anything. Their wives have no expectation of anything, and these are like
Listen, dude. Anybody who is spending every moment trying to bring Mashiach, that's as close as you're going to get to anything working out.
These are people for sure spending every moment.
I'm not saying.
Yeah.
I'm not getting specific. I'm just saying that the people who are working to bring Mashiach, right, are carrying everybody else.
Dude, can I tell you something? The people that I just mentioned, if anything, there are people in the Jewish world who think that those people are going, they're running ahead of the paravoz too far. You know, they went too soon. You know, like there are Haredi people that disagree that we are living in, that we should not be living in those settlements, in those places, and that they're like, that they're like running ahead of the game.
Yeah, that we should still be in Poland.
Not Poland. We just shouldn't put Jewish lives in danger by going to live in hilltops that are whatever, Not Poland. Just we can live in Israel. Just don't. You can live in Sanhedria Morchevet, that Haredi neighborhood in Jerusalem, but just don't go live in the hills somewhere. Don't build a shack in the hills and get it dismantled and then rebuild and get it dismantled and then force the army to come out and defend you and the government to have machlokin inside internally. Don't do that. Don't do that. Не выебывайся. Pardon my language. Just don't do that. Don't. I have a friend that says don't put. Oh, he says.
Don't show God that you're very anxious to live in the land and do what He wants.
Don't drive Jewish history
that you really
forward.
want to go to the Temple Mount to get closer and then to begin the service. Don't show God any of that. That's a bad idea.
Yeah, we're Tamei Mace. Don't do that. Don't drive Jewish history forward. It's not time yet to drive Jewish history forward, even though we've been driving Jewish history forward the whole time. But just
can I tell you something?
Don't do it.
I read today that there's a statement saying why did during King David's time, right? Why were there tens of thousands of losses in battle from the Jews against Philistines and all this kind of stuff?
Hesitation.
You know why?
Hesitation, probably.
No, that's not right. The reason is because they didn't demand to build the Bet HaMikdash. They didn't demand the Bet HaMikdash.
Yeah.
That was even before that. We're not even talking about people who had it and lost it. These people didn't demand it. And the question is, that's a good question. Like, how do you not demand it? Right? Like, everybody knew what they were doing in Israel. Everybody knew what their daily job was and what everybody was working towards. How could there not been How could there not have been a demand for? You know what? It's probably God's fault
Yeah.
in some way. Probably made it too hard or something like that. You know what I mean? Like I have to remember. This makes things too hard.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of the stuff he does doesn't make any sense. Like if he'd ease up a little bit, probably.
Dude, you know the impression I get. The impression I get from some of these people in the film world, with regards to what you just said, is that they're just waiting for God to come and do it. They're just waiting to, like the people who live in America. They're waiting for a flying carpet. These people are waiting for the thing to come from the sky. These people are waiting for this. These people are waiting for that. Everybody's.
No, but the question is, are they really? Okay, so hold on. Let's talk about what does it mean? They're just waiting.
They're not waiting.
Waiting is
They're
the
not
thing.
waiting for anything. You know what they're doing? They're trying.
Are they waiting or are they yearning? Yearning is a thing. That's like an active. That's a verb.
I don't think they are. I think the people that are, it's like those people that are buying, the Pesach, not Pesach, like they're buying the Dira, the expensive apartment in Jerusalem, just so they can have a Pesach vacation or some kind of getaway, and it's cool and it's nice and whatever, and they want to have this, the expensive kosher personal chef to come over there, and meanwhile, Israelis are getting taxed up the wazoo because of this guy who bought a dira, in an apartment while he lives in America. Israelis have to pay up the wazoo for real estate because real estate prices are being jacked up. And I spoke to a guy about this. He told me, well, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. So that's why they should create these, like, I guess like you can call them opportunity zones in Israel, like designated areas with affordable housing. I'm like, no, they shouldn't do that because Israel's a tiny country, and you should just say you can't buy an apartment unless you make a freaking aliyah. Don't be one of those guys who sits in Flatbush with an empty ass apartment 90% of the time in Israel. How about that? How about we make that a law? And actually, Lieberman, the guy we hate the most, actually recently proposed a law. He's a finance minister to do just that, to tax people up the wazoo who buy apartments. People from Chutz La'aretz, they buy apartments, keep them empty. Okay, so pay taxes on those. And I'm no socialist, man. Believe me, I'm no socialist.
Listen, I mean, Lieberman wants to tax everything.
I
It's not
know.
just those
I'm just saying, like, dude, make aliyah. Don't do this crap. And I have a friend, he said, yeah, because of their hashkafic issues, their Bubbies and Zaydis told them this, and their Rebbe told them that. I'm like, dude, if the Bubbies and Zaydis told them this, and the Rebbe told them that, then stay out. Stop buying apartments, stop driving up the real estate prices, stop ruining everything for everybody who took a risk and put their balls to the wall, like myself and other people, to actually make aliyah and get raped at every turn and every segment of society financially to just be able to live the dream in Israel, or try to. It's not helping. Like, what is this, man? Like, we want to, like, these people are davening every single, like you said, like, people are davening to bring Mashiach. They're davening every single day, and they're talking about things that are, half of those things are already in reality. They happened already. Like, faith met reality. Like, if you came to a rabbi 150 years ago and told them that very soon there's going to be a government in Israel, however it is, it's a flawed, horrible, whatever. There's going to be an army. There's going to be all this stuff, startups, whatever. He would say, I believe you because I have a mitzvah to believe you. What does that mean? That means we're living in a generation where faith meets reality. This generation, today. And yet these people are still standing in Flatbush davening about, what are they davening about? What are they mumbling over there to themselves?
I know, I understand.
Does my question make sense?
No, obviously it makes sense.
I hope I don't sound like too much of a Tzioni, whatever the hell that means.
No, a lot of it. Listen, a lot of it makes sense. And in terms of whether or not people should have apartments or not, I mean, I don't know. I know that everybody has a chalik, and every Jew has a chalik of Eretz Yisrael, right?
Yeah.
But what if my chalik of Eretz Yisrael is like in Syria? Because the real Eretz Yisrael
for sure.
stands pretty far.
Or northern Saudi Arabia, or Jordan.
or Jordan, all the way up, all the way until the Tigris and Euphrates, right? Or possibly Cairo.
Dude, I can tell you, my Halik. This is the feeling I've gotten. My Halik is somewhere near, in the Shomron.
Turkey in Turkey.
No, no, no,
Oh, the Shomron.
no, somewhere in the Shomron, somewhere near Shiloh. I really resonate with that area of the country. Uh, the vineyards, all that stuff.
Right. So I think that the people that if you wanted to deal with the housing issue in Israel, there's probably better ways than to attack people who keep apartments there.
Could be.
I think
Just
I
build.
think the reasons for it are it's mostly artificial, caused by the goddamn socialist government of that country.
Listen, a lot
That's
of it
the
is
real
just
problem.
we can annex Judea and Samaria. We could build more. There's a ton of land. We could really build more. Mamash. There's a ton of land everywhere in Israel. It's a ton of open space and open land all over the place. And I feel like the government's just not using it.
No, they're not using it. They're trying to dismantle the country at this point.
Yeah.
They tried to kill most of the population.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the population will use, whatever is available to mitigate the damage that was done to them.
Hopefully half of them got placebo. Schmucks.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully, all of them got placebo, but we already know that's not the case.
Yeah.
Stillbirths are up 500%. Hever Kadisha is still having trouble bearing everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so unfortunately, that's already not true, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that's how, again, how come people aren't noticing that, right? It's the same people who they just want to live their life.
Yeah.
And they want to live in denial about the reality that they're going to be facing, and they want to definitely live in denial about any suffering that might be happening around them in the world. That's why they're not noticing this.
Yeah.
It's not just them; it's people all over the world. Okay, that's how it's so easy to get away with this, with the mindset that people have, right? So we're talking about the people who aren't demanding Mashiach every moment, right? And we're talking about people who don't realize yet that this whole life is stupid waste of time without Mashiach coming to set up a situation where God is revealed in the world.
Yeah.
Okay? So people with that who don't realize that yet are the same people who are not paying attention to the death and suffering of people around them. And that's what makes them vulnerable to these monsters that are trying to kill them. Do you see how it's all connected?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And some of the rabbis, I can think right now. I can think of some rabbis who are just as pissed as me right now. I don't want to say their names, but they're the rabbis who talk about Mashiach all the time. Like and not just like lip service, but you could see that that's what they're really thinking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where everybody else is like, oh, what is he getting so crazy for? Like those rabbis, you know what I mean? Like, and they're always trying to like calm down themselves because they don't want to like be overly enthusiastic and scare people off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like they're trying to like self-police themselves, but you see they're having difficulty containing themselves, right? That's what I'm talking about, those rabbis. I know they're pissed and destroyed, and they're trying to figure out a way to pull themselves up out of depression every time God, stands us up. Okay? And they have to do that because they're rabbis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm a rabbi. I can't be this depressed and, go around like, yelling at God. What's that going to look like? I can't to set a good example.
Are you
But
ready?
I'm not a rabbi.
Are you ready for me to piss you off right now?
I'm already pissed off. I guess.
I'll piss you off. I'm gonna piss you off even more. I wrote to the guy. I have some questions because he asked me. He's like, "What should I say to the girl?" He's like, of course. I go, number one. Question number one. What is the shaykhus between me and this girl in terms of personality and or ideology of life, in your opinion? I.e., what do you think I have in common with her? I'm not saying I don't have anything in common, but I want to know if I do. He writes to me, I don't know you well enough, and I respond, precisely my point. Wink. But I think, and he goes, both of you made Aliyah from a strong family, Soviet, but independent. Listen, I don't believe in making a match. It doesn't work if you try to match. What?
He says he doesn't believe that trying to match people up by similarity of personality ever works. He thinks opposites attract. That's what he's trying to say in an Israeli way.
It doesn't work if you try to match. Are you single? Are you open for introductions? That's enough. Wink.
He's like saying, "Come on, man, live a little bit. How
Oh
do
my
you know
God.
until you don't try?" He's like, "How do you know until you talk? You don't never know. Live a little." That's what he's trying to tell you. Maybe he's right. I don't know.
God. Dude, I literally, I'm like, there are things that to me are elementary in life.
My dear Watson.
And it just seems like for people, they are not. And it seems like when I try to show them, these are not, these are like, this guy, can't tell you what this guy does for a living. He works in a company. You know what the company does? They are, you know how there's like, in Israel, like most of the cars have, the little beeping things that detect when you're like about to get close to a car or like the lane, because they're basically trying to stop accidents in Israel. So this company takes that technology to like some, you know, tic tac level, mamish, like a tic tac level, to the point of like you have to be Stevie Wonder to get into a car accident. You know what I'm saying?
Right, that's right. That's what I was hoping. Just on a side note, you have all these like creeps for many years talking about completely self-driving cars. Why? If you have technology, if you surround the car with sensors, with good sensors that kick in and don't let the car crash into, a moving or a stationary object, then why can't you let the person drive? The car takes over right before impact. What's the point of making it fully automated? Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, continue. Sorry, I just
You know what
wanted
this
to
guy
rant
wrote to
for a
me?
second.
You know what this guy wrote to me? I wrote to him, I'm open, but there has to be some relevance. He writes to me, Jewish check, Orthodox check, love Israel check, North American check. You're kidding. I'm like, first of all, she's not Orthodox. Second of all, I don't date based on checks. Sorry. Is this real?
Wait. She's Orthodox?
She's not. He
Okay,
told me she's
then
not. She's off the derech.
maybe off the derech means she's like not
He
wearing
told me
like
she's not Shomer anything anymore. I wrote to him, this isn't some robotic slash mathematical process. Dude, that's the thing. The guy works. This is what he does for a living. Hold on a second. Dude. Hold on. I gotta pause. Sorry about that.
yeah.
I think he. Okay, never mind. I don't know, man. I feel like I have to teach people how to do elementary things.
No, man, you're not going to teach people anything.
And I feel now I'm like offending the guy. Like he's a nice guy. I want to have like a good, but I just feel like now I'm just kind of like.
just say, listen, I appreciate it, but I need a religious girl who's already, she's already with it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like she knows that I need a girl who knows, that's it. You don't have to say any more than that. I was gonna talk about like, when I wanted to have wanted to do one of these episodes before Yom Tov. I wanted to to do the book symbolism. Talk about the archetypes and how they're controlling our minds and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it doesn't fit with the energy of what we're talking about today. I guess it kind of does, but not directly. There's a break there in there somewhere.
Dude,
But I did want to just kind of preview something related to that.
Yeah.
I was reading this book called The Invisible College. It was written by Jacques Vallée. Did we ever talk about Jacques Vallée?
Maybe.
Do a quick Google search. Jacques Vallée. You know how to spell Jacques, right? Jacques.
Yeah. I think we mentioned him. Jacques, 1 second.
He's an important, I believe, is an important figure because he might be the only secular guy.
This guy, yeah. Valle,
Yeah,
V-A-L-L-E.
V-A-L-L-E,
1939.
right?
He's still 82 years old, yeah. Jacques Vallée.
Read his bio.
Internet pioneer, computer scientist, venture capitalist, author, UFOologist, and astronomer currently residing in San Francisco, California, and Paris, France. His scientific career began as a professional astronomer. At the Paris Observatory, Vallée co-developed the first computerized map of... Hold on a second, let me close the door. Computerized map of Mars for NASA, 1963. He later worked on the Network Information Center for ARPANET, a precursor to the modern Internet, as a staff engineer of SRI International's Augmentation Research Center under Douglas Engelbart. Vallée is also an important figure in the study of unidentified flying objects, first noted for defense of the scientific legitimacy of the extraterrestrial hypothesis and later for promoting the interdimensional hypothesis. Interesting. He went to Paris, University of Lille, and Northwestern, PhD.
Completely. His undergraduate degree in mathematics at the University of Paris, right? University of he got an MS in astrophysics from University of l'Illinois de France. France. In 1961, began his professional life as an astronomer at the Paris Observatory. 1961, he was awarded the Jules Verne Prize for his science fiction novel. Okay, so academic and business career, just quickly. So Vallée moved to the United States in 1962 and began working as a research associate in astronomy under Gérard de Vaucouleurs at the University of Texas, Austin. While at McDonald Observatory, he compiled NASA's first detailed informational map of Mars with Vaucouleurs. Okay. Anyway, this guy is a serious nerd, like big time academic.
Yeah.
He was involved in a lot of stuff that's not mentioned here, especially with the United States government black projects. He was also part of Project Blue Book, and he actually became an assistant to J. Allen Hynek, the guy who was running Project Blue Book for many, many years.
Yeah.
Anyway, and also Steven Spielberg modeled a character in his movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, right? There's a French guy in that movie who was kind of in charge of helping the U.S. government understand what's going on with the UFO stuff. Okay, so and Spielberg modeled that character after this guy. So this guy has been in this for forever, and he, in his just by his own research, right, and hypothesizing, he pisses everybody and all of these UFO guys off. They basically hate him because most of them are like, oh, well, it's aliens from another planet. And he's like, that doesn't add up to what we're seeing here. Like, they don't want to look at all of the facts, because when people have these sightings, right, or these experiences, when they do, so there is physical evidence that these are real physical things that are happening and that are being seen, right?
Yeah.
And so he's not denying that. But at the same time, there's also a bunch of absurdity that doesn't make any sense in terms of rational thought.
Yeah.
Right? Like, for instance, people say they saw, they saw this craft which landed, and then these occupants came out, and then they said some bunch of weird stuff and some gibberish. It doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, he asked questions like, okay, so if they have the craft, then where are the trash cans?
Yeah.
Right? Where's this? They eat, right? Where are the tables? Where do they eat? Where do they hold the food?
Yeah.
There's stuff that doesn't add up.
Yeah.
So his conclusion is that the things that we're seeing are not really what these things are. Understand? They can project things to us.
Yeah.
And even, physical projection, meaning like it's real, like we're seeing it's actual physical object, but they're able to project this. They're showing us what they think we need to see. And then the question is, why are they doing this? So this has been going on for like 80 years at least, and and then he talks about these sightings going back thousands of years. And he says, if you look at all of the mythology and legend and folklore from all of the cultures everywhere in the world, it's always the exact same phenomenon, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Except that it's masked in the folklore of whatever culture you're talking about, right? And so with the Irish, with the fairies, with the leprechauns, and every culture you go to has the same description, except they call them something else. But the phenomenon that's described is the same.
Yeah.
Okay? So what he's saying is that this is really some kind of external, non-human intelligence that might be local. They might be sharing our world with us, with access to dimensions that we don't have access to.
Yeah.
Okay? And they're doing this as they're guiding our development. Okay? And he's not saying that he knows what they are. He's saying some kind of thing that's not us, okay? That is connected to us in some way. We don't know how. Okay? There could be a projection of us, or we could be connected to them in some unknown way. That part he hasn't fully formulated. But he does seem to see that the various countries in the world that you go to, and this happens literally everywhere in the world, these kind of things, that each country has their own style of these type of. So what he's proposing that every kind of territory has some kind of other intelligence that is kind of suited to that culture, to that region of the world. He doesn't understand what he's saying. He's talking about the ministering angels, right? That each one has a nation, right? It's said. You know what I'm talking about? Like every nation has their ministering angel, right? Like that's what he's describing that without realizing it.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
Okay, and he also delves into initiation rituals from secret societies. Not because he says there's a connection between these higher intelligences and these secret societies, which that's actually what I'm saying. He didn't say that.
Yeah.
But he's talking about the type of techniques that these things use to push the boundaries of our ability to comprehend things, to evolve us or to grow us.
Yeah.
So he was bringing this one example, which is, I think this is very important, okay? He was talking about, I'll find the place in the book so I can, know the authors and the people involved. But basically, this is a psychiatric thing. Psychiatrist writing this. So he's saying, imagine I was walking down the street in, I can't remember what city it was, Chicago or New York, something like that. Very windy, right? I had like one hand holding onto my hat, right?
Yeah.
And I was coming to the corner of a block. And as I was turning the corner, I crashed into this guy who was also, coming in the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, no, and I said to him, it's actually 4:30, not 2:45, so I'll see you at the party.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kept walking.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I went all the way down the block, I turned around to see the guy, and he was still looking at me in shocked disbelief.
Yeah.
So what happened? What he did was he reacted in such a way that's completely unexpected, completely having nothing to do with the expected response, where in a normal situation when two people crash into each other, they exchange like some kind of, oh, I'm so sorry, oh, here, let me help you, that kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what he did to this guy, he did a mind F on him, where not only did he tell him something that had nothing to do with what just happened, he also lied. Like the information, it was actually 2:30, it wasn't 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
You understand? So the guy was doubly shocked. So the guy who this was done to, he was like standing there waiting for a piece of information that would return him back to his basic pattern of logic.
Yeah.
Okay? So that absurdity that the other guy did to him, right, discombobulated his mind to where his mind was now waiting to soak up some kind of rational piece of information like a sponge, looking for anything, any sign of something that made sense. So why am I bringing this up? Well, actually, Valet brought it up in his book, The Invisible College. He thinks that's what these entities are doing to us.
Yeah.
So they're presenting themselves in all these crazy ways, right?
Yeah.
You got to hear the encounters that some of these people have, like documented encounters.
Yeah.
We're talking about military dudes, high-ranking politicians, officers, responsible people, conservative people having interactions with these things. Like there's one guy, he was a Brazilian military officer. He was fishing, and then he got something shot him in the back of the legs with some kind of stun thing.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he sees himself being dragged by these dwarves, these hairy dwarves.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then they put this like helmet on him that it's so heavy it hurts his shoulders,
Yeah.
Like the weight of it's pressing down. They put him in a cylindrical tube.
Yeah.
I guess that's redundant. They put him in some kind of craft that looks like a cylinder. And then he travels for what feels like a very, very long time, feels himself going, he's having trouble breathing, and then he passes out. He sees himself, he wakes up in a room, some kind of like octagonal room, and there's like a table in front of him, and there's like these dwarves, these hairy looking dwarves that are like 4 feet tall or something like that.
That's crazy.
And then they tell him this whole story how they don't communicate by words, they communicate with pictures.
Yeah.
Meaning like they can't talk, so it's like hand gestures and pictures. So he decided that they're asking him to be their guide as to how to deal with Earth or something like that.
Yeah.
So they asked him, "Do you want to be our guide?" And he refuses.
Yeah.
And then he gets scared that they're going to kill him, so he picks up his rosary beads. He's a Catholic,
Yeah.
right? And the head dwarf gets really mad, comes over and grabs the beads.
Wow.
And rips the thing away from him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so and then whatever, the story continues and it's really bizarre. Then he has a vision of something that looks like Jesus or whatever, okay? And then he is returned back to Earth, but he's hundreds of miles away from where he was taken from 4 days later. To him, this whole thing felt like maybe like an hour or two.
Yeah.
But he was returned 4 days later.
Yeah.
Okay, there was a massive search out for him. So this is common story, by the way. This kind of story. Now, does that mean that there are 4-foot dwarves that are flying around and communicating with people and trying to get them to be there? No, of course not. That's ridiculous. This whole story is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So these entities, whatever they are doing this to people. They're introducing this absurdity because what it does is it opens the mind, the subconscious mind of the person that this is happening to. Yeah. Because if the mind is very closed off and very rational, right? Mm-hmm. So they create this like complete absurdity, which makes the person desperate for anything that makes sense. The mind begins to start bending this way, that way, trying to and it becomes more open to some kind of subconscious suggestion. Mm-hmm. So they believe, again, this is like dinner for schmucks, that whoever these entities are communicating with the subconscious, which means with your neshama. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. And so your subconscious, which you don't have access to, right? Normally. Yeah. Things are being done. So it's a really bizarre situation. It fits exactly with, it's very similar to how God deals with us too. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of overlapping ideas that are happening here. It's fascinating. And I think Valet, this guy, I think he's important because he's the primary, he's like the most prestigious, I would say, of the people who research this area. He's been doing it since this, early 60s. Okay? Yeah. There's nobody who has had more personal experience with all of this phenomenon and who's done the work more than him and has written more about it. Okay? And he seems to, I don't know if he realizes it, but he seems to be saying everything the Torah says about this phenomenon. Yeah. So that's why I'm bringing it up. It's, you know what I mean? It's pretty amazing. And he just wrote a new book, which is called, what is it called? It says Trinity, the Best Kept Secret. Mm-hmm. So this book is about, apparently, a craft, excuse me, that the United States government found in the desert. This is before Roswell in 1945. Trinity is the site where they were testing the A-bomb. And whatever, I just, I'm gonna start reading that, but I think it's very interesting. And and by the way, he was bringing up the secret societies, right? Because they all have a similar method that these UFOs and that guy who bumped into that other guy, right, and told him some crazy stuff. Their initiation rituals, the secret societies, use the same techniques for their initiates to get them to expand their minds. They use symbolism and all that kind of stuff. All of this is connected. It's shocking how all this connects in some way. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I know it's a little bit off topic than your love life, but
I ain't got no love life, bro.
You're welcome, folks at home.
This guy wrote to me. I don't know. There's something going on my WhatsApp, but he wrote to me. I just wrote to him. She's not Orthodox, and he writes back to me. That's the question, indeed.
Yes, it is.
Isn't it now, Mr. CTO? C3PO?
C3PO, yeah.
Dude, he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. He's an intelligent guy, supposedly, allegedly. That's what I'm saying, man. It's like people supposedly have stuff figured out. But when it comes to the nuances of important things, they don't know what why do I... Dude, how is it that I don't have life figured out, but I know this? But they have life figured out, but they don't know this. Where did I get the sensitivity for these things from? God?
Yeah.
Откуда это научился? But it's not even sensitivity. It's just something simple like, Why would you set people up when you don't know either of them? Or you know one of them, the other one you don't know from a hole in the wall. And then the other one you say, the other one, but at least the one you don't know from a hole in the wall, you see that he's at least has a certain value. And the one you know well, you know that she doesn't have that value. Why the hell, why would you even bother? Especially since both people live, one person lives in Canada, the other one lives in New York. And you want one of them to, obviously the man to travel to go see the one who's in Canada. Ну, что это? Dude, if this guy ran his business the way he's doing this, it would fail. He clearly would not run a business.
He cares about his
like
business.
Yeah.
No, he cares about his business. He's not going to be careless with that.
No, but here at least he's trying to run this like he's running his business, which is what? I wrote to him, this isn't some robotic/mathematical process. I don't date based on checks. Like things checking the box.
Yeah.
Robotic mathematical this is not how this works, man. You have to get a feel. You have to get a, in Russian we say pashupat. You have to get a feel for the people. You have to get a feel for their essence. That's how this works. It's ethereal. It's esoteric. It's beyond. You can't just say check, 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 check. You can't do that. We are not pieces of paper. We are not. It'd be easier if we were, but we're not. We are nuanced, subtle people. We're human beings with all kinds of machinery going on.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not anymore. That's what I meant to say. Now he's just looking for a youngish lady who didn't destroy her ovaries so he could have some kids.
I guess
she has to be hot.
That's another question. Is she? I want to ask: is she vaccinated or not? Should I ask that?
Dude, you're not gonna meet this chick. I think you should stop engaging with
I
this guy.
know I'm not gonna meet, but that's not my point. I'm talking about.
So stop torturing him.
Dude, I have
yourself.
to see this guy at Minion again. He's a nice guy. I like the guy. I have a good night.
Okay, so just say, look, I really appreciate it, but not interested. That's it. Just stop torturing yourself.
But he's gonna get upset
stop
anyway.
Torturing me.
He's gonna get upset.
Stop torturing the
he's
folks
gonna get.
at home.
You know what's gonna happen? He's gonna get upset, and then the guy who runs the Minion, my father's friend's gonna call me, and he's gonna give me a mouth. No, I'm telling you, it's gonna it's gonna stink from here to Moscow. I'm telling you right now. This is gonna smell worse than Chernobyl.
Dude, I think
we'll see.
It's not going to smell worse than Chernobyl. Just say, listen, I'm appreciated, but I don't feel like it's right. That's it. And just let it go.
Yeah.
Nobody's entitled to making somebody else date someone. Just say no, thank you. That's it. Okay, it's not unreasonable.
You know what's gonna happen? He's gonna have a talk with the guy and say, "This guy's 41 years old. He needs to get married. Why doesn't he try? Why?" They're gonna give me this whole diatribe of like how my clock is ticking.
Right? No, but you're gonna. So what is the rabbi's gonna give you? You'll be like, she's not Shomer Shabbos. I need a Shomer Shabbos, right, Rabbi? Right, Rabbi.
No, he's not a rabbi.
Rabbi.
He's not a rabbi.
He's gonna be like, yeah, I guess.
This guy's not. He's not a rabbi. He's just a frum startup guy.
No, you're saying that he's gonna complain to people in the shul.
No, he's gonna complain to like my father's Russian friend who doesn't think it's important or thinks it is important, but you can figure something out. That's how these people think.
All right, dude. So just stop worried about what people are gonna give you a hard time about. Greg, if I had a tranquilizer dart, I would shoot you with it.
Don't do that. Actually, sometimes I wish you would.
But if you were in Miami, I might be able to do that. I actually have a blow dart. I don't have the the medicine, but I have the dart and the pipe. But
dude, you know what I feel like sometimes? Not sometimes, all the time. Kim Jong-il from Team America World Police.
Why is everybody so flippin' stupid? Why can't you be more intelligent? Like me.
I'll tell you why.
So lonely.
But not this time.
So lonely.
Because I have to go.
Oh, you have to go now. That's good.
I know. Usually it's the other way around, but
Yes.
it's actually I actually have to go because I just realized I'm gonna miss Kriyat Shema.
Oh
I have
crap.
to daven.
Oh crap. Wait, why would you miss Krishma?
Well, it's supposed to be before Jewish midnight,
Really?
which is coming up right.
I thought you could say it like. I've davened Marav at like Kotel at like 3:00 in the morning.
No, you could,
Yeah.
but it's better.
Yeah.
It's preferable to do it before midnight plus 9.
Understood.
I didn't daven Mariv.
I did the whole. Apparently, there was this on the Shvi Shel Pesach, 7-9 of Pesach. There was apparently a whole segula
Yeah.
situation to read. Parshas Haman. I did this whole thing. I did Tikkun Klali. I read a bunch of these different Tehillims. There's one
Oz Yoshir, that's a big
Az
one.
Yashir, and then there's a portion of the Parsha for. I mean, it's Parshat Naso, the end of Parshat Naso for Shiruch, Zivugim, and then there's Parshas Haman for Parnasa. I did that whole spiel in like an hour and a half, from like midnight to 1:30 in the morning, on Thursday night. Yeah. So that was fun. I actually quite enjoyed it. I felt all Baba Sali-ish.
Yeah, no, there's something.
It's good
There's
stuff.
there's something relaxing about it.
Yeah.
There is a feeling, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Who knows, man? Who knows?
So let's do a to be continued. We can do a part 1, part 2 of the bitter disappointment episode.
No, I could just call it. What were you saying? Dinner for Schmucks.
Yes, that's an awesome
Dinner
yes.
for Schmucks Part Un, like one
Part
in
un,
French.
yeah, and then part deux.
Part deux.
Tomorrow.
We have part deux
Because
tomorrow.
this is not over. This is not over.
Oh, this ain't over.
All right. All right. To be continued.
All right, sir. Go do your thing. Shake the
Okay.
wing. All right. Later.